I'm David Scandura.
I'm Justus Burkett.
And today we're here to find out, is Star Wars The Last Jedi the greatest movie ever made?
The sacred Jedi texts. Ooh, read them, have you? Well, page turners, they were nice.
Hello, boys. It's me. Hi, George.
Hey, George. Yeah, figured you might be dropping by for this one. How's it been?
Oh, you know, Watto's been drinking a lot.
Yeah, that guy. See, it seems like honestly kind of a bad hang. Not sure why you spend so much time with him.
I tried to get him clean, but he just yelled at me and flapped his wings at me, and
You know, George. Sometimes
things are tough right now.
Sometimes it's
Things
best...
are tough right now inside your walls, not to mention the heat and the bugs.
Well, again, you don't have to be living inside my drywall. You have so much money. You could afford to live anywhere. It feels like it's not really a me problem that the inside of my walls isn't comfortable for you to live in.
Yeah, man, I think like at this point, you and Watto are just making the choice.
Like,
I get the economy
Skywalker
stuff.
Ranch exists, man. You can just go there. You're allowed. It's your place.
Yeah, you definitely have the money. At this point, you're just choosing to live in squalor. Well, anyway, I came on here to say just, I can't believe it. Finally, you're talking about one of my Star Wars movies on the podcast, and I'm so happy. George, actually,
Technically speaking, it's not one of your Star Wars movies. I mean, in so far as like all Star Wars movies are your Star Wars movies because you came up with, you know, the characters and the world, but like we're not talking about one of the ones that you like had a creative hand in.
I thought you were talking about the Phantom Menace.
No, George, no.
Return of the Jedi, maybe.
No, but closer. It does have the word Jedi in the title. Yeah.
Oh. You're
Yeah.
talking about
Right.
that one.
Yes. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi is the topic of conversation today. Yeah. Yeah. Again, like you know, insofar as all of Star Wars in part
Of
belongs
all
to
the
you.
Star Wars movies, for you two chuckle fucks to talk about,
Yeah.
you picked one that I had no involvement in?
Well, we just figure, like, you know, the movies that you made have been in the zeitgeist for so long. People have really said all there is to say about the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. Figure the sequel trilogy it's more recently in the rear view, and reappraising it now feels like it's the right time to like look back on, you know, The Last Jedi, for example.
Yeah, we don't really have anything to add, like when it comes to either the prequel films that you directed or the original films that you know, directed the first one and then had a hand in making the other ones. Like, we kind of want to talk about something new and exciting. Okay. I guess I'll just have to live with this. I'm not happy, boys.
I'm sorry, but George, I mean, you could also just like let the past die, you know? Kill it if you have to. You gotta move on. I feel like you can't be holding on to this idea that David and I are going to be talking about.
George,
Oh God, he's here.
I'm home. I want my blue dick sucked tonight, you son of a bitch.
Sorry. I'm being called away, it seems.
I really think you got to get out of this relationship, man. It just seems like it's.
I'm betting everything on coming on your face tonight.
Oh
I think.
God. All right.
All right, well,
Gotta get these guys out of here.
hope you guys have fun talking about a different Star Wars movie. Meanwhile, I have to suck Watto's cock. So
All
I'll
right,
see you guys
well,
later.
Have fun with that. I hope, because otherwise, I don't even. The implications are very uncomfortable.
Yeah, just take care of yourself, George. That's all we ask.
Yeah. And also, like, go home.
Find somewhere else to live for my friend's sake. Bye-bye.
Bye, George.
Bye, George. I haven't heard from him in a while.
No, nor have I. Things have been startlingly quiet in the walls lately, which is shocking, apparently, because seems like their sex life is pretty rambunctious. You'd think I would be hearing more of that. Anyway, glad I'm not.
Yes, Justus, we are here today to talk about Star Wars.
Yes.
For the first time on the podcast.
That's right.
And we're going to talk about Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
Yes. Star Wars finally making its appearance on our podcast as the 100th film we're discussing. It's episode 101.
Yes,
but this is the 100th film we're talking about.
Technically the 100th film, yes, if you calculate it.
Right.
And I guess normally with the anniversary months so far, we've done like good movie, bad movie. That's certainly what we did last year.
Right.
So I just want to say that if you're looking for us to talk about a bad movie,
check out next week's
episode is American Psycho 2. So,
but I mean, we can pretty much put our cards on the table. We've hinted at it in our last episode when we announced what we would be talking about. Cards on the table, neither David nor I think this is a bad movie. There are lots of people who think that The Last Jedi is a bad movie. We are not among them. Now, whether it's the greatest movie ever made or not is still, that remains to be determined. But It's like, we can basically enter this episode being honest about our feelings on this movie, which is like, neither of us is part of the corner of the internet that's like, Last Jedi ruined Star Wars, Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie. Like, it's good. We like it.
We are both going to be positive about this movie.
Yeah.
If you, listening to us, cannot be mature about that, I would encourage you to, A, fix your heart or die, or B, go listen to our Titanic episode, or fucking Hellraiser 2. Or like anything else.
That's very diplomatic. I was just gonna say fuck off.
We're going to talk about The Last Jedi in, I would say, mostly positive terms.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Despite not really knowing like your take on this movie, other than I know that you like it.
Right.
We haven't really talked about it.
No.
Privately.
Right. And I think when this movie came out, like everyone was talking about it so much that I actively avoided talking to people about this movie because I was so like overwhelmed by the online discourse. And I was like, I don't want to hear anyone mention fucking The Last Jedi in front of me. Like, I will punch your teeth out if you mention Star Wars in front of me. I'm so sick of this shit.
So we're going to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Before we get there, how are you doing? Anything to recommend?
Yeah, we also didn't introduce the show.
We didn't do that either. Man, George just showed up and threw everything off.
I know.
Welcome to the greatest movie ever made, the show where we watch a movie and tell you if it's the greatest movie ever made.
Salt. That's my favorite one-line delivery of this entire movie.
Oh, I was going to go with, blow that piece of junk out of the sky!
They really hate that ship. I love the guy who spits and goes, salt. Sorry.
Movie that's so thoroughly entertaining, compelling, that you're watching. It's the fucking only thing that matters in the world. I've done this 100 times.
You guys
I'm a little
know.
sick of it.
You know. I'm
David Scandra, joined as always by my co-hosts, and I thought I had one, but I don't remember it now. Justice Burkett.
Master Code Breaker. I'm just coming up with them for you lately.
It's a lot of effort.
Yeah, I believe it.
I already have to be like funny and give thoughtful criticism on a movie.
You don't have
on this podcast every week. I have to try.
Yeah, we do try. Anyway, now I'll tell you how I am.
Okay.
Yes, we've introed the show. I'm gonna keep it pretty short this week. I'm good. I'm having a pretty good week. I am busy. There are deadlines that are creeping up, but I'm good. I also don't really have any media recommendations. Like, the only thing that I watched recently that I was passionate enough about that it would be a media recommendation is also a movie that I was the last person in the entire world to see, which is Sinners. Like, you've seen Sinners already, so of course you know it's great. But I watched it and liked it a lot. So I guess that's my non-media recommendation because I came to it late. How are you, David?
I'm good. Work's busy, and that kind of sucks ass, but otherwise I'm good. I'm very sleepy this week. This is another big EP week for David.
Yeah, that's going around.
Just
High Priestess Pod is even epier than usual this week, I feel like.
She is sleeping currently. I don't know if she is after
She's the
yelled
queen.
that line into the microphone. Haven't made it to the gym at all this week, which sucks.
Damn.
I'm trying to I've made it like twice a week for the last few weeks, but I haven't been terribly consistent about it. And then this week I just haven't made it in at all because I've been sleeping in.
Yeah. I've been getting back on that horse, and it's been going well for the last 3 weeks or so. I'm
that's
hoping
good.
I can keep it up. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have anything to recommend really.
It's a no media recommendation.
Like I've watched stuff and listened to stuff, but I don't know if I want to call anything out really.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Star
Wars.
Wars. David.
Wars in the Stars.
Star Wars. Ever heard of it? So this is the first time we're talking about Star Wars on the podcast. We should kind of I feel like do what we normally do with big properties, like we did with Spider-Man and Batman and stuff like that, and talk about our general relationship to Star Wars, which as a couple guys born in the early 90s, I feel like most of you can sort of assume what our relationship with Star Wars is.
And it's a good time to hammer out our opinions a little bit on some of the other films.
Right.
Because we've both kind of agreed that the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy will not be covered on this podcast outside of maybe a commentary track or something bonus. It's just not
right.
It's not on the horizon for us.
Yeah. We don't see any point in doing an episode on The Empire Strikes Back, because every single fucking thing that can be said about The Empire Strikes Back has already been said 1,000 times. We're not going to be adding anything to that conversation.
And the same for Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, totally.
Every criticism or positive comment you can make about that movie has been made.
In a lot of ways, I feel like Star Wars, especially those first two trilogies, the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, is the most overanalyzed media in the world other than the Bible. I feel like more unnecessary picking apart has happened to Star Wars than anything else that exists, basically. Because I was gonna ask you your feelings first, so I'll can it for now, but just sum up some of that for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's so ubiquitous in culture. It's been translated into so many different languages. Its influence and its spread on pop culture, both in terms of science fiction and fantasy filmmaking, just general blockbuster filmmaking, merchandising, the way that movie studios fund projects, it's affected so many facets of pop culture and the arts.
Yeah.
That
it feels like Star Wars 77 is kind of a movie that remade every aspect of movies. It kind of feels like it's impossible to overstate the impact that movie had on pop culture, on the way that movies are made, on the way that they're distributed, on the way the audiences receive them. Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah.
A personal relationship with Star Wars, though.
I hate Star Wars.
You hate Star Wars.
This is what I say. I hate Star Wars. I love Star Wars.
Yes.
It's a huge reason why I'm sitting here talking to you about movies. It's part of why I love movies. I watched the original trilogy on VHS as a kid religiously.
Yep.
That's one thing I want to talk about. I think that period between the end of Return of the Jedi, between Return of the Jedi's release and the months leading up to Episode 1 are the most important time frame, are the most important period in Star Wars history, the time in which no Star Wars was occurring.
Yes. I completely agree. I think the best time to be a Star Wars fan, the most uncomplicated, purest time to be a Star Wars fan was, after Return of the Jedi had been out for a while. You could get the VHS box set with the original trilogy, but there was no other Star Wars. There was not even any other Star Wars on the horizon yet.
It was like you had books and toys and video games and comics, and it was the older generation, introducing it to the first young generation to experience Star Wars.
Right, because there were like 13 years or something between Return of the Jedi and The Phantom Menace, right? And that's like basically a whole generation of people.
Yeah.
And that's where you and I came up, right? Because it's like I same thing. I was watching that original trilogy VHS box set that my parents had because my parents had seen the original trilogy in theaters, loved them, and as soon as they could like buy it on home video and introduce me and my brother to them, they did. So I was raised on those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't until I watched Indiana Jones that I became interested in filmmaking as an art form and like wanted to learn how films were made, where like Star Wars was always just like pure magic to me.
Yeah.
And in some ways it still is. And then the prequels, which I saw at least 2 and 3 in theaters. 1 may have been too early for us to go to the movies with my younger brother. But I definitely watched that on home video before going to see 2 and 3. And I loved those. I really loved them. And I loved them for a very long time, up until probably shortly after college. And I put them on again, knowing all the criticisms and the critiques that were leveled at them throughout the years. And they didn't work as well for me, and they really haven't worked as well for me since. My opinion on them sitting right here today is those are bad movies that I like, that I can still watch and have some nostalgic connection to them, even if it's slightly ironic, even if it is sometimes genuine. I think those movies, as ambitious as they are, as different as they are being made by someone, being made by a creator who has kind of gotten high on his own supply.
Don't say that too loud, he might hear you.
and doesn't have anyone around to tell him no. And whatever his ambition clearly exceeds his grasp on those movies.
Yeah.
So I still have some fond memories related to them. But I do think those movies are bad.
Yeah.
And then these. I think all of the Disney movies are fair game when it comes to this podcast, in terms of doing future episodes.
Right, like any of the sequel trilogy, but also like Solo and Rogue One.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Force Awakens. When I saw it, I was like, "This is good. It's playing it safe, but this is good. This is a good jumping off point." I loved this one immediately. I saw it twice in the theaters. I think Force Awakens I probably saw like 3 or 4 times in the theaters. This one I saw twice. Loved this one immediately. Had some, didn't think it was perfect, but thought it was the best Star Wars movie, at least since the original trilogy, if not since Empire. And then Rise of Skywalker happened, and that is the only Star Wars movie, Solo and Rogue One included, that I have seen once.
Okay.
And I saw that in the theater.
Yeah. And
on the way out, kind of realized while I was having the conversation with my friends about it that I was Phantom Menacing it, which is, you see the interviews of the people walking out of Phantom Menace on the midnight showing, and they're like, their minds are blown, and they're hyping
like, wow,
it
that was great. Yeah.
I was kind of doing that with Rise of Skywalker. I was like, yeah, there were some problems, but it was really cool, and that happened, it was good, right, guys? It was good.
Right.
It wasn't a giant piece of shit. I haven't gone back to it.
Yeah.
And definitely, like, my memory of it, even just the memory of watching it, has soured on that film quite a bit.
Yeah.
Solo and Rogue One, those are fun. I guess those are fun. They have their moments.
Yeah.
And then as far as like Star Wars television, I've watched a little bit of the Clone Wars, both the animated 2D Gennady Tarkovsky Clone Wars.
Yes.
That was in between episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah. That shit's really fun. I watched that too.
Yeah. I've rewatched that relatively recently. It's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. And then I've seen some of the actual, like, the Cartoon Network CG animated Clone Wars show that is canon now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen some Mandalorian and Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi was my last stop with Star Wars. I was like, if Obi-Wan Kenobi isn't good, I'm gonna just take a break from this shit for a few years. And I had very mixed feelings about Obi-Wan Kenobi and sort of felt nothing about that show.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And now people are talking up Andor so much that I'm like, do I need to fucking watch another Star Wars thing? Do I need to see Andor? Because everybody fucking loves Andor. I became obsessed with a clip from Andor, even though I haven't watched the show.
Oh, okay.
I've been watching just the clip of the scene where where fucking Ben Mendelsohn as Director Krennic, the same character from Rogue One, he's in a big conference room doing like a Imperial board meeting, and he just keeps saying calcite because there's, I guess, a mineral called calcite that they need. I don't know. I haven't seen the show. I have just watched clips of Ben Mendelsohn yelling calcite to a room full of people.
I know almost nothing about Andor.
Yeah.
But people are hyping it up.
If it's anything like that scene where Ben Mendelsohn yells the word calcite, I'm in.
Okay.
If the show is just 10 episodes of him going calcite, sign me up.
So love Star Wars. I'm a little sick of Star Wars, and sort of think that Disney buying Star Wars may have done more harm than good.
Right.
Overall.
Yeah. But it gave us this movie, which
we'll talk about. What's your relationship to this fucking saga?
Well, like I already mentioned, I grew up with it, same as you, original trilogy. And very similarly to you, I liked the prequels when I saw them. I watched all of the prequels in theaters, I believe. And then very quickly, my family acquired them on DVD when they were released on DVD. And me and my brother watched the prequels a bunch. And I liked them because I was a child. Right? And like my relationship with the prequels actually kind of turned a little earlier than it did for you. And I think part of the reason for that is I have two siblings who are much younger than me. I have a brother who's 6 years younger, and then a sister who's like 14 years younger than me. And as a result of that, like when I kind of stopped being as into Star Wars when I was like a teenager, and I was like trying to distance myself from things that I liked as a kid because I didn't think they were cool anymore. Right?
Yep.
I didn't actually get to stop watching Star Wars. Like I was trying to distance myself from being that Star Wars kid and trying to like get into cooler stuff. But Star Wars was still on all the time in my house because my little brother was watching it and my little sister was watching it, right? And so like I think in high school is around high school, maybe late middle school, is when I started being like, is Attack of the Clones bad? Like, do I not like this movie that I thought I liked? And I was like, well, there's stuff in it that I like. Like, I like the big fight at the end, but like the middle's kind of boring, right? And then that just started happening gradually. Like I got more and more negative on Attack of the Clones, and then that started bleeding over to Revenge of the Sith and Phantom Menace as well, where I was like, yeah, Jar Jar's pretty fucking annoying. Or like, yeah, like a lot of the plot shit in Revenge of the Sith feels really forced and rushed, you know?
Right. Once you hit that age where you start seeing some more movies and you learn a little bit more about movie making and screenwriting, coming back to the prequels is like seeing the Matrix Code.
Right.
You just see the problems with it.
Right. But when you're a kid, it's like, it's awesome. There's like guys fighting each other with lightsabers. There's space battles. Like, who gives a shit?
There's trade disputes. Every kid loves trade disputes.
There's racist caricatures. What's not to love? Yeah, so like my relationship with the prequels now is a little different than yours. I don't think those are bad movies that I like. I think those are bad movies that I don't like. And I watched them. I came back to them as an adult. Like, I probably stopped watching them. I stopped watching them like after I moved out and went to college. And then post-college, I like went back and did a whole Star Wars rewatch. I think like maybe leading up to Force Awakens coming out. And or it might have actually been leading up to this movie coming out, because Force Awakens came out while I was still in college. It was the year I graduated. So like I rewatched them all as in my like early 20s. And I just remember rewatching The Phantom Menace, and when we got to the battle scene on Naboo, where they're like throwing the blue balls at those hover tanks or whatever, my eyes literally physically hurt from how bad the CG was. Like I would like the image on the screen was so bad to look at that like my eyes were like itchy and red. and that is such a visceral memory that I have where I'm like, I don't think I ever need to watch that movie again. You know, unless we do like a commentary for the podcast or some shit. I'm just like, I think I'm done with Phantom Menace because the last time I watched that movie, I remember it harming me.
I spent 10 minutes talking about the underwater creatures on Naboo. And I'm just like, this should just be the whole movie.
Big goober fish.
Them in a sub and a big goober fish.
And yeah, and so that's the last time I watched any of the prequels. I did not enjoy them on that watch. It felt like a huge slog getting through them.
They're a slog.
And
like
after,
I think charitably they can be called a slog.
And after watching them when I was like 23 or 24 or whenever that was, I was basically like, fuck these. Like, I don't want to ever see these again. Original trilogy, though, rewatching it that time around, obviously held up for me. Those are great movies. When I saw Force Awakens in theaters, I liked it, and I've gone back to it a few times. Like I've watched it a few times since it came out. Still like Force Awakens. I think it's like a fun Star Wars adventure that maybe like owes a little bit too much to A New Hope, but is like good in its own right.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the movies, Star Wars, I think is sort of about the past echoing the future. So like those references, it's like poetry; they rhyme, as George Lucas once said.
And then Last Jedi, like similar to you, I pretty much loved this movie instantly. I loved it in the theater, and have watched it. This is maybe like my fourth time seeing this movie.
I think this is my first time seeing it since the lead up to Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, yeah.
I think I watched this like in the days before this and Force Awakens again in the days before Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, and then Rogue One and Solo. Rogue One I've seen a bunch of times because I love that movie. Rogue One is. I don't know if we'll do rankings or not at the end of the episode, but like Rogue One is up there for me. I am a huge defender of that movie, and I kind of don't understand people who don't like it. Solo I barely remember. And then Rise of Skywalker, like what happened with you with the Obi-Wan show, where you were kind of just like, I'm done with Star Wars after this. That was sort of me with Rise of Skywalker. Like, watching that movie in the theater, I was just like, so disheartened and infuriated and like I was just like this movie is making choices that feel like they were determined by like a boardroom of producers trying to figure out what plot twist is gonna get them the most bottom line. Like it feels like totally creatively bankrupt. It just feels like it's like totally disconnected from any of the like spirit of the two movies that came before. And I fucking hate it. I hate Rise of Skywalker. It might be the movie that I have had the most vitriolic hatred toward outside of something truly morally repugnant like Megan is Missing. Like Rise of Skywalker might be the movie I hate the most. That wasn't, you know, directed by an actual pedophile.
I think sequel fans of the sequel trilogy and detractors of the sequel trilogy can both agree.
Yeah.
That Rise of Skywalker sucks.
I sort of appreciate Rise of Skywalker for being a bad enough movie that it reunited the Star Wars fandom, where it's like Last Jedi like caused a huge rift in the fandom, and then Rise of Skywalker comes out and it's like, okay, well at least we can all agree that this piece of shit fucking blows.
The trailers for all of these were awesome.
Yeah, I remember being really excited for Rise of Skywalker.
I remember in the lead up to Rise of Skywalker watching those trailers and being like, man, this one's gonna, I can't wait, this one's gonna fucking rip.
You know, Disney is you don't get billions and billions of dollars by being bad at marketing, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, and then like also just aside from like my relationship with the movies, other than like the cartoon show, the 2D animated Clone Wars, I haven't really seen any like Star Wars TV, but I was a big Star Wars video game kid. I played the fuck out of Battlefront and Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
I played Rogue Squadron on the N64. I played
Yeah,
Shadows
boy.
of the Empire
Yeah,
on,
boy.
on the N64. I played fucking what's the one that's like StarCraft but for Star Wars. The
Oh,
desktop game. You know what I'm talking about?
Empire at War?
Empire at War. Yeah.
Yes.
I think there are multiple games in that franchise.
I think there's multiple RTS.
I played the hell out of those. So yeah, big Star Wars video game kid.
Did you ever play episode 1 Racer?
Yes, I absolutely did.
I recently played through episode 1 Racer on my PS4 because they re-released it, and boy, what a video game.
I don't remember the guy that I played as, but but he's like the little guy who I think he in the pod race he like screams and explodes or some shit. He's like a little guy.
Oh, Rats Tyrell.
Yes, Rats Tyrell. Yeah, I played the fuck out of Rats Tyrell.
It's funny how I have all of the pod racers in episode 1 memorized.
I have a surprising amount of just like glup shitto names just living in my brain because I don't consider myself like a Star Wars nerd now. I definitely had that phase, but it is just crazy how much my brain has hung on to names like Neen Numb and fucking is the Elon Sleaze Bagano.
Oh, I was so happy that the Neen Nub makes it through this one.
Neen Nub,
and he's in the final shot at the end.
I love that guy. Shout out to my boy Neen Nub. I like that he's like that's kind of how he talks. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of good glup shittos in this movie.
Dude, I was watching the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There are so many glup shittos. They made so many little practical freaks for this.
I love that it's probably the smartest business decision anyone in Hollywood has ever made. That George Lucas was like, yeah, I don't really need to be paid for Star Wars, but I get the rights to all of the like toys and merchandise and shit forever.
Oh, the best business deal ever made in Hollywood that will never be done again.
Yes, yeah, where he was basically like, I'm going to make a name for every little guy you see on screen and make an action figure for him, and every child in America is going to need like the guy with the weird elephant nose who talks into a walkie-talkie in fucking A New Hope, right? Is that guy in A New Hope? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like it's genius.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Last Jedi.
So a couple things.
Yeah.
This episode is not going to be a rebuttal to every little stupid argument that some fucking edgelord neckbeard virgin on the internet has come up with.
Right.
We're not here to address like points brought up in a 6-hour video essay somewhere on YouTube.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be like an autopsy of what went wrong with the Star Wars sequel trilogy. I'm sure both of these are things we'll talk about because it's sort of inseparable from the movie.
Yeah. But we're not like setting out to like change anybody's mind about this movie. We're just going to talk about our feelings about the movie.
Like we're going to talk about the stuff we like, about the stuff we don't like every other episode.
Yeah.
But you kind of up top, it has to be acknowledged like how controversial this movie is for people who spend too much time online.
Yes. Especially if those people hate women. I guess that's all I'll say about that. Just like, if you hate this movie because like Laura Dern is in it, or because Rose Tico is a character in this movie, like maybe just examine your feelings on women in general and see if maybe that's where it's coming from.
Yeah,
because for a lot of people on the internet, that's where it's coming from.
I'm not acting like this movie is above criticism or even disliking those characters is like a wrong thing to do, but a lot of the arguments against this movie I think are just bad faith, terrible brain dead takes.
Yeah.
Of people who are angry that Rian Johnson had a slightly different interpretation of Star Wars than what they had.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing that I want to say about this movie. This movie will never be made again in Hollywood.
No.
We will never give a young auteur indie director the keys to a franchise and let him go hog wild with it. No, for forever we're going to be sticking a gun to that director's head as they make fucking, the third fucking live action Lion King movie or the 40th Marvel movie or whatever.
It really feels like Disney took that lesson from this movie and applied it to Marvel, which is another one of their properties, right? It definitely feels like this movie comes out, they see the fan reaction to it, right?
And it's interesting that it's the fan reaction because the critical reaction for this was very positive.
Yeah.
This movie made a shitload of money.
Yeah, it turns out people who who have media literacy in the medium of film mostly liked this movie.
But it does seem like after this came out, everything shifted to trying to dissuade fans who were critical of the movie. There was a huge push to, a few things happened. Carrie Fisher dies.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be a big part of episode 9.
Right.
So they have to figure out a way to work her into the movie.
Yeah.
Also, they fire Colin Trevorrow because Book of Henry sucks.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson was supposed to do a script treatment for episode 9. He's not credited on episode 9, so who knows if anything that he had written
right,
while he was working on this for episode 9 even made it in there.
Yeah.
And they announced that Rian Johnson was going to do his own separate trilogy of just, unrelated characters. That never happened. And then in the wake of Rise of Skywalker, so many of the other projects that they announced got shit canned.
Yeah.
Like what's happening with Patty Jenkins's Rogue Squadron movie? Who knows?
Yeah. Will that movie ever come out? Maybe. Who knows?
I remember them announcing when the deal happened in before Force Awakens came out, when Lucas sold Disney Star Wars. They were like, we're gonna have one Star Wars movie a year. And it seems like they pushed that business model to its breaking point.
Yep.
And we are now seeing the after effects of what happens when you try to flood the market with media and content.
Yes.
Especially with Marvel. And what happens is people just stop caring.
Yep. Yeah. Sometimes if you open the fire hose, people just get out of the way.
There's less effort and less time going into each project, and the audience reacts to it.
Yep. I do like to think that if anything from Rian Johnson's script treatment made it into episode 9, it's Babu Frick.
Yeah.
I like to. That's my headcanon.
That
nothing made it in from Rian Johnson except Babu Frick.
That would make sense.
And that's why he's the only good thing in that movie.
That would make sense.
Yeah, because he's a little practical freak.
Rian Johnson is obsessed with the freaks in this movie.
Yeah, and he likes little practical guys. There's so many good little practical guys.
I was watching the behind the scenes of them designing and building the cow that Mark Hamill milks in one scene, and then debating if they can take it to the location, like the logistics of transporting it to the location, or like shooting it on set, or like doing it with CGI. And I'm like, all of that just so Luke can milk a sea cow for a joke?
Yes, yeah, and take a big swig of green milk and then swallow it like it tastes disgusting, but he's like muscling it down. And then the sea cow spikes the camera like, it's a living. Definitely worth all the effort that they put in for that moment.
Yeah,
that's one of the best parts of this movie. Is when the sea cow looks at the camera and is like, "I'm getting fucking milk."
I love him grabbing that nipple and the milk shooting out of it practically into Mark Hamill's poor face.
I like I like the sound design of its little like groans while it's getting milked, because it kind of sounds like it likes it. It's kind of like, "Oh yeah." Thanks, man. My udders were getting so backed up.
So anyway, you know how this fucking shit starts. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, there was a Star War.
Yeah.
Applause every time the main title came up when I saw these movies.
Yeah.
In the theater, every time, every single movie was applause, and you kind of I remember feeling that rush.
Yeah.
Of like, we're watching a new Star Wars movie.
Yeah, the thing about Star Wars, especially when you're raised on it, right, is it's like there is sort of an undeniable emotional hook that these movies have for people who were, especially for people who were raised on them. But I also think that just like the Star Wars world and the characters and the whole way that it kind of simplifies moral struggles into like dark versus light and stuff. It's very like, obviously, like, it's not a nuanced take to be like Star Wars are crowd-pleasing movies, but I think it's like there's like an emotional shortcut that Star Wars exploits even when it's not good. Like, I feel like it's like you have the text on screen. This is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That's how that goes. And then the John Williams kicks in, and you get the big iconic title card, and it's just like, if you have any relationship to these movies whatsoever, you're gonna feel something. Like, you just are.
Yeah. And I think the opening crawl after that rush of emotions at the big title card, I think the opening crawl also is a very good tone setter for these movies.
Yeah.
It's funny, you can sort of tell
if it's going to be a
good movie or
one.
not based on the crawl.
Yep. As soon as fucking Rise of Skywalker's crawl starts with like the dead speak, Emperor Palpatine, I was like,
Emperor Palpatine came back in a Fortnite event that was not featured in the film.
I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. And in this one, right, we get a good opening crawl. I like the opening crawl in this one.
I think it's clean and concise.
The First Order reigns, baby.
Sets up the conflict very, very well.
Yeah. And it sort of reminds you where we were at the end of The Force Awakens, which is helpful if you're watching this movie, when it comes out and it's been a year since The Force Awakens, or if you're me watching this movie today, because I did not rewatch The Force Awakens in preparation for this, right?
I didn't want to. I didn't do it either. I didn't want to. I figured like kind of treating this on its own merits, I think, was the best way to go about it.
But it does a pretty good job of summing up like previously on Star Wars, right? And then like letting you know like what the given circumstances are when we kick things off, right?
Yeah. So the remnants of the not the First Order, the Resistance. The new names.
Yes.
It's fucking rebels in the Empire. You know what we're doing here.
Right. I do like the First Order as a name.
Yeah.
I like that because it like.
Is there a Second Order?
I don't. Good question. I like the First Order because it sounds like neo-fascist dog whistle jargon,
Yeah.
Like that's one of the things I like, and that is present in The Force Awakens as well, where like the First Order, because the Empire in the original trilogy are very explicitly like space Nazi coded, right?
But it's more subtextual, and then like in Force Awakens, they make it very explicit.
And they also make, especially with Donald Gleason's character, Hux, right? And I am saying Donald, welcome back to the show. Sorry I mispronounced your name on our About Time episode.
Has it been that long?
I think so.
Wow,
I think we haven't had him back since About Time, which is episode 5.
Okay.
So he's finally, almost 100 episodes later, Donald Gleason is finally back with us. But like his character in The Force Awakens feels kind of like neo-Nazi coded rather than Nazi coded to me. Like he feels more like a like one of those like internet fascists, right? Like a Stefan Molyneux type, or like a Richard Spencer type, or he's like a the Steve Bannon camp, right? And I like that the First Order kind of like all the aesthetic of them, but then also their behavior and stuff, where like all of these guys are kind of like cosplayers. Like none of them, because the original Empire, right, were like, they're fascists and they're Nazis, but they're also like good at their jobs and like are competent. And with the First Order, a lot of the time you're seeing like all this infighting, you're seeing Hux being like a whiny little pussy bitch all the time. And I'm like, yeah, this sort of is the difference between like Nazis and then the people in our modern world who like want to emulate Nazism and like bring it back and stuff. It's like you're as bad as them, but you're also worse because you're like not even as good at being a Nazi as the actual Nazis were. So that's what I like about the First Order. And like the name evokes that to me too, where it's like, yeah, these guys are like trying too hard. I
like the First Order. I think the problem, and this lies more with Force Awakens than this movie, is that there is so much time that passes between Return of the Jedi and now that I don't know that the movies do enough job to fill in what's happened in the past 30 years that would lead to the Empire returning seemingly bigger and better than ever before.
Right.
And I mean, like, I kind of think the right way to engage with Star Wars is you have to feel it more so than intellectualize it.
Totally.
And that's definitely true of this movie. But I would like a little bit more context. than just another J.J. Abrams mystery box.
Right. He's just like, I don't know, it's the Empire again, but not really.
Yeah, but now they have a planet, a Death Star.
Yes.
And ships that are even bigger. And then in Rise of Skywalker, he's just like, more ships!
Right.
More ships than can even fit on screen.
Right. Instead of the First Order or the Empire, how about now it's the Sith Empire, and they have 1 million Star Destroyers? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of think Rian Johnson is commenting on some of that in the movie, though. Like, this first space battle, and then the, like, defeat as it exists for the First Order, which is like a pretty minor setback, but like Snoke gets pissed at Hux about it.
Yeah, the destruction of the Dreadnought.
Yeah. It seems like what Rian Johnson is sort of saying about the First Order in this opening bit here is it's like, yeah, like we don't really know where these guys come from. We don't really know what their deal is. They are just kind of cosplaying the Empire, right? And Snoke's dressing down of Kylo Ren after the Dreadnought gets destroyed reads to me very much as like Snoke being a disappointed Star Wars fan, right? Like Snoke is a Star Wars fanboy being like, what is going on? Like, you guys are supposed to be the fucking Empire. You're supposed to be the new Darth Vader. Why isn't this shit fucking working, you know? And so it does feel like Rian Johnson is sort of poking at the idea of the First Order and being like, does this shit really even hold water? You know, like, how invested are we in these guys? You know?
Yeah, and I think the idea of Kylo Ren cosplaying as Darth Vader was pretty well set up by J.J. Abrams in Force Awakens.
Yeah, and it feels like Rian Johnson's really smartly building on top of that rather than undercutting it.
Yeah, I think he's definitely exploring it further.
Yeah.
I also think the First Order in this movie is maybe the most British the Empire has ever been.
Yes.
There are just so many British people on these ships.
We got a
2-line cameo from fucking Kate Dickie. In this movie. Another one is like another like legendary BBC sort of actor of stage and screen, as many British actors are. But there's just the stereotype of like the Empire is a bunch of British guys. In the original trilogy isn't exactly true, but here it is very true.
Yeah. I really got to shout him out. I don't know who this actor is. You can chime in if you know, David, but like the guy who's the captain of the Dreadnought that gets destroyed, that British guy is like one of my favorite like little he's one of my favorite Death Star guys, because in Star Wars there are Death Star guys. There are guys whose whole role in the movie is to hang out on the bridge of a Death Star and like talk to each other for a little bit and then get blown up by rebels, right? This dude is like an all-time Death Star guy.
I think I know who you're talking about, and I've seen him in other things.
Yeah. He's the Dreadnought captain, where when they realize that Poe is like destroying the cannons on the Dreadnought to clear the way for the bombers, he's like, assemble our fighters 5 minutes ago. He's that guy. I fucking love that dude. He's just like tomato faced and screaming at all of his subordinates through this whole thing, and then he just gets blown the fuck up.
I love the harsh red lighting too. Like this is a fucking Dario Argento movie.
Right.
Like the vibes on the fucking bridge of this Star Destroyer are off the chain.
Yeah, and you know this guy is like such a shitty boss. He's like the type of boss who's making you ask to take a bathroom break. Like things are miserable on this Dreadnought.
Go back to Donald Gleason. Great little weasel face on this fucking guy.
I have a question for you, David.
He's so good at looking whipped and pathetic and angry and petulant.
Yeah.
Just his face is perfect in this movie.
I have a question for you. Do you think he's wearing fake eyebrows? His eyebrows are bushy as fuck in this movie.
It does.
He's got a couple of caterpillars above his eyes, and I'm like, I've seen Donald Gleason and stuff. His eyebrows have never stuck out this much to me.
I wouldn't be surprised if they are,
or they at least teased him a little bit, or something.
It does seem like his makeup is pretty heavy in this.
Yeah,
to give him like a little bit more of a gaunt face.
He is pasty as fuck in this movie. This is the pastiest fuck who's ever lived. Yeah, but he's got these like fuzzy caterpillar eyebrows, and then his sideburns too. I was also wondering if those were like added, because they're like they go so far down, and it's like such a specific look. I love him in this. Yeah, he's just like such a little bitch.
I was even fine with Rise of Skywalker just kind of turning him into a joke.
I liked that, actually. Like, that's one of the only things about Rise of Skywalker that I liked, is when you, like, find out that he's been the mole the whole time or whatever. Like, he's been feeding information to the rebellion. And it's like, of course he has. This guy's a fucking, like, he's a coward. He has no scruples. He just, like, wants to save his own hide. Like, of course he's feeding info to the other side.
Both of his bosses have sucked, too.
Yeah, that's really true. Yeah. The opening sequence where they bomb the dreadnought rules. I think this opening sequence as just kind of like a little standalone, like if this was just like a Star Wars short film, I think it's a great little kind of self-contained story, which is a great thing to like start a movie with, because you kind of you're following Poe, but then as soon as the bombers come out, you're really following Rose's Paige Tico. That's her name, because she does get a name in the movie.
Oh, okay.
You're following Paige Tico, who's like flying one of the bombers, right? And then like all the other bombers get shot down. She's the only one who has a chance to like bomb the weak point on the dreadnought or whatever. And like she gets like knocked out right as she's like reaching for the button. She's like trying to kick the like thing to make the detonator fall, and she like finally catches it at the last second and drops all the bombs. Mm-hmm. And like her ship explodes, and it's like a heroic sacrifice, and it's like all wordless, like there's no dialogue, but the way that it's shot, it's like so the action is so specific, and the emotion of it is carried throughout all of the action. And like then when you realize that like Rose is that lady's sister and has like a matching pendant or whatever, it immediately gives you emotional investment in Rose Tico, because you've already seen her sister like do this like amazing heroic thing. And I just think it's so well executed and so well deployed in this movie.
And I think it's a great setup for one of the overarching themes of this movie of the little acts of heroism that make all of us heroes.
Yes.
And what it means to be part of a community, and part of a community that's struggling against depression.
Yeah.
I love the bombing sequence. I particularly love these motherfucking bombers.
Yeah,
I consider myself to be the authority on cool spaceships.
The authority.
On this podcast.
On this podcast.
Of the two of us.
Totally.
We haven't talked about that many sci-fi movies in space.
Yeah. I would defer to you on sci-fi spaceships.
But these bombers are like in my top 10 Star Wars ships of all time.
Yeah, they're really cool. They're really cool.
I love that they're fat and slow.
Yeah.
And that all of these bombs are just like hanging loose in the in the cargo bay.
Yeah, I like the big sheets of bombs. Like they're like, it's almost like a chain link fence made of bombs.
And these things explode pretty quickly. But I get the sense that they're designed to just decimate the enemy with as many bombs as possible.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know why they're slow, but I think that kind of adds to the drama and the tension.
Totally.
And there's a lot of like World War II bomber influence on the design of these things, which I love too.
And on the costume design of the people in them.
Yeah.
Like they kind of have like a little bit of a World War II bomber pilot look to them.
Yeah. And one of the things I like about this trilogy is the way is the diversity in the background actors, and how it shows the rebellion is made up of a diverse group of people. So there's people of color, there's women, there's an old guy piloting one of these bombers, which is great.
Yes, I think the old guy is the guy who gets one of my favorite fates in a Star Wars movie, which is like the shot is the interior cockpit of an X-Wing or whatever ship, and you just see the guy sitting in the seat, and then he gets shot, and a bunch of sparks just erupt around this guy in a seat. And it's like, well, that guy's dead. And then you cut away.
Yeah.
But he's like, wah, or whatever.
Yeah, we got a couple fat guys here, too. We got a couple of Porkins' children or whatever, his distant cousins.
Porkins' progeny. It's so fucked.
But it makes...
It's so fucked that George Lucas was like, yeah, there's a fat guy in this movie. I'm going to call him Porkins. Fuck you, fatty. Your name's Porkins. How do you like that, William Hootkins? You son of a bitch, you fat fuck.
Wow, you pulled that out of nowhere.
William Hootkins?
I didn't.
It's the guy who plays Porkins,
I
baby.
probably didn't. I maybe have heard that, but I definitely didn't have his name in my back pocket.
Very rude to William Hootkins, who I presume is dead. to call him Porkins.
I do always forget that he's one of the guys at the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh yeah,
that gives Indy the mission to go to the Lost Ark.
Hootkins, baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I like the diversity of the Resistance crew too. I was noticing in the scene where like Admiral Holdo is introduced that there is the crowd behind her is mostly human. There's like barely any aliens in the shot where she's like kind of delivering her introductory little speech. But it's a very diverse cast of background humans in that shot. And I'm like, I think that was a really good choice to show the remaining Resistance as like very few aliens, but like lots of diverse human faces. 'Cause it does kind of make you more invested in their plight. Especially when, like, we go to the First Order ship, and it's, like, Hux and Kylo Ren running things there, and they're the two whitest motherfuckers to ever live, right? Yeah, I don't know.
And it's definitely contrasts nicely with the original trilogy, where it's, like, the rebellion is a bunch of old British guys, and then dudes that look like they should be playing in Boston or something.
Right. like a bunch of really 70s guys.
Just a bunch of porno stashes that look like they play keyboards in a rock band.
Yeah. The bomber sequence is good. We like it. They blow up the Dreadnought. And like I already talked about, then like Hux gets a Zoom call from Snoke where Snoke is pissed off. I like him slamming him to the floor and Donald Gleason going, "Ah!" And then Snoke dresses down Kylo Ren. The thing after that conversation where I said that Snoke is like a disappointed Star Wars fanboy, where he's like, why can't you be more like Darth Vader, that guy I like, right? And he tells Kylo Ren to stop wearing the stupid Vader wannabe helmet.
Yeah.
And there's the great scene where like Kylo Ren's in the elevator afterwards, and he like slams the helmet into like the elevator until it's like shattered. And like comes out of the elevator with like new resolve, right? It just feels like I think the moment where he's destroying the helmet is sort of Rian Johnson like putting his cards on the table for like what the themes of the movie are gonna be, right? It feels like a moment where he's being like, this is my take on Star Wars, is that like there's this guy who represents sort of like the fan base that wants to like stick to the status quo and just be like, give me more Empire, give me more Darth Vader, this is how it's supposed to be, is how it was before, right? And then like you have the new villain of this franchise being like, no, fuck you, I'm gonna do something else. You know, and I'm not gonna wear the stupid fucking mask, and I'm gonna like, you know, I'm gonna take this in my own direction, you know.
I don't think it's that meta.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's definitely an interpretation that you can have of it, but I think really what Rian Johnson is doing is presenting Rey and Kylo Ren as kind of two sides of the same coin.
Right, totally.
They are both two young people growing up, trying to figure out what their purpose is. In Rey, she's trying to find herself and looking to, you know, like Kylo Ren says this, but he's not wrong. She's looking for father figures in Han Solo, in Luke Skywalker, trying to figure out who she is.
Yeah.
And then Kylo Ren is trying to live up to this ideal of Darth Vader, and you can interpret, I think you can interpret what that means in terms of, is it masculinity? Is it you know, what it means to be like a proper citizen of the world? You know, like, I know there's different ways you can interpret it, or like the young generation embracing fascism. But I think really what Rian Johnson is doing with this movie, and I think this is the thing that so many people miss, is he's starting with characters. He's interested in characters.
Yes.
And what happens to characters when they've already experienced the hero's journey.
Yes.
Like with Luke.
Yes. Yeah. Right. I also think I completely agree with you. I think that he is character is his first priority, and character and emotion, right, are his first priorities in this movie. And I think that is the reason that one of the boldest choices that he makes in this movie is also absolutely the correct one, and one of the best choices that he makes in this movie, which is to have Rey and Kylo Ren talking to each other directly throughout the middle of the movie. I think that is like a genius choice that makes this movie what it is.
Yeah, because they both realize that they're on the same path.
Yes, and it's like, and he, as a filmmaker, intuitively knew, like, I have to make there be a way that they can talk to each other, because the most interesting thing in this movie is going to be what these characters have to say to each other. And it's like, yeah, he was dead on. Like, the movie would not work if Kylo Ren and Rey were siloed off from each other for the entire movie, like Luke and Vader are in Empire, right? It worked in Empire to have Luke not really interacting with Darth Vader in the middle of that movie, and for them to just come together at the end. The same thing would not have worked here. If we had kept them separate the entire time, this movie wouldn't work, I think.
Yeah. I think a lot of people criticize Force Awakens for being so close to A New Hope.
Yeah.
I think people also criticize this one for being close to Empire. I don't agree, though. I think this takes two of the best thing that Empire does, and there's definitely visual callbacks and stuff like that.
Like the ending on Crate is very Hoth and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's a Star Wars movie. Like, the fucking original trilogy blew up the Death Star twice.
Yes.
Like we've done this before.
Yeah.
But the two best things that this takes from Empire is the pacing.
Yeah.
And the emphasis on mythology.
Yeah.
Which we can get into more as we go on. But I think, like, that's really like what this movie takes from Empire, and I think that's what makes Empire the best Star Wars movie, and I think that's what makes this movie successful for me as well.
Yeah. Another thing that is like an echo of Empire, but not like a direct copy in a bad way, I think, is like Rey basically does what Luke does in Empire in this movie. She like goes to Dagobah, but it's not Dagobah, it's this planet with this island, which is pretty much where we're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like they destroy the Dreadnought, and after all that stuff we check in with Rey, right? And it's right where The Force Awakens ended, which is like she finds Luke on the island and she holds out the lightsaber to him, and we get to see that moment. And I just remember in the theater there being such a huge reaction when he takes the lightsaber and just chucks it over his shoulder and is just like, fuck this shit, I'm done with it. I still love that moment so much.
Yeah.
It still feels, even though I knew it was coming, it still feels like subversive and surprising and propulsive to the plot in a way, because it's like, then you're immediately like, what's his fucking deal? You know, like it's a wordless exchange that immediately makes you like so invested in what's going on with the two of them.
Yeah, and it echoes Empire in that the same way Luke has heard about the legendary figure Yoda,
right?
Lands on Dagobah, and he's not what he expected. Is the same thing for Rey.
Yes, and in many ways, Luke is sort of Yoda-ing it up on this island. I like that it sort of echoes Yoda being like, yes, I have to eat my disgusting little swamp soup. Because it's like Luke's like fucking milking his creature. And he's fucking spearing giant fish. I love that fish that he kills. And then him carrying the big fish on his back. Such a good visual. But it like, and he's just being like, leave me the fuck alone. Like, I don't want to talk to you. And I love all the stuff. Like, I love the island itself. I love the design of like the buildings on it, like the little brick domes and stuff. I love the real locations that they found to shoot on for this island, and I also love like when it's like a CGI image of like the wide shots of it and stuff. Like it all looks so good.
Yeah, they built a lot of sets because the location that they shot on, they shot some of the scenes on, is a the actual island is a bird sanctuary.
Yeah.
So they had 2 days to shoot. So they built some stuff on a soundstage, They also shot some stuff on Ireland, just like on the coast.
Yeah.
But I think all of the different locations that come together to make this location come to life, it's all pretty seamless. And this is the best. When we're on this island hanging out with Luke and Rey, it's the best stuff in this movie.
It's some of the best stuff in Star Wars, in my opinion.
Yeah. I kind of think this movie is, in some ways, the most Star Wars that Star Wars has ever been Star Wars.
Yeah. Explain what you mean by that, but I agree.
But when I think about what George Lucas was intending with the original Star Wars and how it was hearkening back to the Campbellian monomyth and myths and legends and the hero's journey that have been told throughout cultures time and time again, while also injecting influences of Flash Gordon serials and Akira Kurosawa samurai films and World War II movies, this whole movie encapsulates all of those aspects so well.
Yeah.
And the mythic stuff is the stuff that I glob onto the most and identify with the most.
Yeah.
And portraying Luke as a character who has undergone the hero's journey and is now older and conflicted about his place in the world and what that journey did to him and his own failures is genuinely one of the best character decisions that I can think of in recent movie history.
Yes.
And the way Rian Johnson talks about it is like he loved Arthurian legends as a kid. But what he really liked was the legends when Arthur was older.
Yeah.
And more conflicted.
Yeah.
And a more complicated and complex character.
Yeah.
And I think there's like an argument to be made that with some of the returning characters in Force Awakens, J.J. Abrams just kind of put them back to zero. Like, all right, well, Han and Leia got together and they broke up, so Han's doing the smuggler thing again, and Leia's doing the princess general thing again.
Yeah.
And here, to give a character whose arc had basically concluded and give him another journey to go on, is such a great decision.
And it feels so true, right? Like, the thing that I love about Luke in this movie is that he feels so human and real in this movie because, like, the way life works is that, like, you accomplish or don't accomplish goals that you have, and then, like, life just keeps going, right? So it's like, yeah, if you, like, save the galaxy from the evil empire, you then just have to keep existing after that. And you don't, like, I think the thing that, like, a lot of people who had an issue with Luke's character journey in this movie, like, don't agree with me on, or maybe don't see the same way, is that, like, progress in lived experience is not linear, right? Human lives in reality and ideally in fiction, right? This is one of the things that makes fiction feel more true and real, is that, like, you don't go from 0 to 100 in your life. You don't go from unskilled to master. You know, it's not an upward trajectory. It, like, squiggles and curves, and, like, there are setbacks, and, like, you go from being good at things to bad at those same things that you were once good at. You go from having knowledge and wisdom to losing that knowledge and wisdom if you don't use it, right? You go from thinking you know things to realizing you don't know the things that you thought you knew. And it's like that's where we find Luke in this movie, and that is so much more relatable and interesting to me than if she showed up and he had been like, well, I'm Luke Skywalker and I save the galaxy. That's what I do. So of course I'll help you learn to be a Jedi.
Yeah, that's the least interesting direction to take this character in at this point.
And, like, so many people were like, oh, we didn't get to see, like, Luke Skywalker, badass Jedi, fight the First Order, right? And be the hero. And I'm like, you already saw 3 movies of that. You saw him fight the Empire. It's like, why do you want more of that? I'm way more interested in who this guy grew to be, you know?
And it's almost like, I mean, if these movies had come out in like the chronological order that the story goes, it would be like people watching episode 4 and being like, well, why wasn't Obi-Wan kicking ass?
Right. Totally. Yeah.
And I find it interesting that people, I don't know exactly what the reaction to the Obi-Wan show is, but I know they really connect to the Obi-Wan and Vader stuff in the show.
Yeah.
And they like Obi-Wan being damaged and regretful and reckoning with his failure, but they can't come to grips with that with Luke in this movie.
Right. And maybe it's because like Luke is too precious to certain Star Wars fans. They can't bear to see him make like a wrong decision or whatever, but it's like, I don't know, man. I think it's more interesting if a character that I liked and idolized as a kid is like fallible and flawed.
Yeah.
You know?
And if there is a problem with it, I think it does go back to the fact that the thing that he's kind of grappling with happened off screen and we didn't see it.
But I love how the movie
But I think the movie does
us.
a good job revealing it to us and showing us why he's like this.
Mm-hmm.
Which we can get into more as we go along here.
Yeah. So like we check in with them on the island and she basically follows him around while he like gets his fish and his milk and stuff, and she's pestering him. And then I think like we abandon island stuff for a little bit before he even really starts teaching her anything, to go back to the rest of the Resistance, who have like jumped to light speed after they destroyed the Dreadnought. But then the First Order fleet catches up with them, and they're like, how's that possible? They shouldn't be able to track us through light speed. They got a fancy doohickey on Snoke's ship that is like allowing them to track them through light speed or whatever.
Yeah.
And so this sets up the thing. This sets up the main set piece of this plot line of the movie, which I love that it's a siege. This is a siege movie. Like the way they set it up, I think, is really tight and very easy to understand, even if you like don't even if you're not like a sci-fi head who likes getting caught up in all the jargon and the lingo and stuff. It's basically like, we don't have enough fuel to outrun them. We can't jump to light speed again because they'll just track us through light speed again. But we are smaller and faster than they are, so we can stay out of range of their cannons doing damage, and just like until we run the fuel out, basically. Mm-hmm. And it's like perfect siege setup. I think this is such a smart plot decision.
And the big thing here with Poe is that, you know, they took down the Dreadnought, but they lost all of their bombers in the process. They're down to very few ships. So there's a conflict between him and Leia about, you know, preserving the resources that they have and the people that they have, and just fighting. And Poe's journey in this movie is sort of like learning to preserve what he has and learning to preserve the community that they have. I do wish there was a little bit more for Poe to do in this movie overall. Mm-hmm. This is the longest Star Wars movie, and there's a lot that's happening in this fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of think his arc and Finn's arc mirror one another.
Yeah.
So kind of pairing that up as just like an overall arc that our main Resistance characters have to learn, I think it works pretty well.
I think it works too. And I like Rose Tico and Admiral Holdo as kind of their respective, like, kind of partners in their character journey that they have to like sort of butt heads with, but also get along with at various points, right?
Yeah. And the structure of this thing and the feeling of this these sequences, like you said, it mirrors a siege movie. It also kind of mirrors something in Empire that I really like, is that Empire is a much slower and more patient movie. It is not a rollicking space adventure the way that the first one is.
Yeah.
Just like this isn't a rollicking space adventure the same way that New Hope is.
Yeah.
Or
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens is. Yeah. Anyway, but what this movie emphasizes is the desperation that the heroes are in.
Yeah.
And how they're barely just out of one scrape before they get into the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that I think that is what makes a lot of these sequences back with the Resistance pretty good for me.
Yeah.
They're maybe like my least favorite stuff in the movie, because it is just like we're kind of waiting for these other plot things to happen before we get a resolution to this.
Yeah.
But we get some fun stuff in the process.
We do get some fun stuff. Speaking of least favorite stuff in the movie, though, before the ship pulls out of range, Kylo Ren is attacking the big shuttle with his like group of TIE fighters. He's in his special fancy TIE fighter, which I always love to see. I love TIE fighter variants.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of TIE fighter variants. I love Kylo's TIE fighter.
It's great. But so he is going to take the shot on the command bridge to blow it up, and he can't do it. I love that moment where basically he senses Leia on the command bridge, and he can't. He could kill his father, but his mother, it's a different story, right?
Yeah, I like him hesitating.
Me too. But then somebody else takes the shot, and the bridge blows up. And a thing I still don't really like in this movie. It's a relatively minor gripe. I've grown to be okay with the whole Princess Leia in space using the Force thing. I still think it just kind of looks bad. Like the CG of her flying toward the ship, I think is one of the least good looking things in a movie that overall I think looks very good. Looks maybe the best of any Star Wars movie. But I don't love the visual of her flying through space.
I knew this was going to be a big discussion.
Yeah.
Point. This was weird in the theater.
It was weird in the theater.
I remember my theater experience of these three movies pretty well. I remember this being a little weird both times I saw this. One, this is the first time we've seen Leia use the Force in any of these movies in terms of like...
Yeah, but it is specified in Return of the Jedi that she can.
Yeah.
We know she can.
And she is... And in Empire, she does somehow sense Luke's in danger and goes back to get him. But as far as like something actively that she's doing, this is our first time seeing it.
Yeah.
And we don't really know the extent of her Force powers beyond this, even, with the other movies and stuff like that. The Rise of Skywalker and stuff, too. We still don't really know what Leia learned in those 30 years.
Yeah.
I think the visual of the bridge being destroyed, and she's like right center frame in camera, the bridge blows up behind her, she just like whips out of the room in the explosion.
Yeah.
That's a little rough to me.
Yeah.
I really love the scenes of her floating in space.
I like the close-ups on her face and hands.
Yes.
But then as soon as she starts moving back toward the ship, that's where it looks a little janky.
I think what would fix it for me is if she just flew back to the ship a little bit slower.
Yeah.
I think
it's maybe the speed.
I think it's the flying through space like Superman.
Yeah.
That's a little much for me.
It's just a little weird. And it's not even that it stretches like believability, because I'm watching a movie about fucking space wizards. My sense of disbelief is fully suspended.
And we've done new shit with the Force in every one of these movies.
Yeah, yeah. And so like I don't give a shit. Like these space wizards can do whatever magic they want. I don't give a shit. I just think it doesn't look very good.
Yeah.
And I think you're maybe dead on. I think the speed is maybe one of the main issues, where it's like, wow, she's really moving. I kind of think that if the bridge blew up, but like some kind of airlock shut so she didn't go flying into space and she just got like knocked to the floor almost dead, it would like accomplish the same thing that you need it to for the movie, which is like she needs to be out of commission for a while, and we could have saved ourselves like some janky imagery.
I think there was ways to get around it.
Yeah.
Like, I think either she flies back slower, or one of the other ships picks her up floating and she's been able to sustain herself because of the Force.
Right, something.
Like but as it is, I'm okay with it. Yeah. But
I don't hate it. It's just one of the things in the movie I like the least.
No, I'm not gonna hit all caps on my keyboard and start typing comments.
right.
Like some people do with this scene.
You know what I truly don't give a shit about, that some people had a huge issue with in this scene? Admiral Akbar just like eating shit randomly, and like you barely even see it because he's on that bridge and it explodes and it's like that's the end of Admiral Akbar. And so many fucking dorks, so many nerd ass virgin losers were like, oh, Admiral Holdo should have been replaced by Admiral Akbar, a fan favorite character that everyone loved. And I'm like, I don't give a shit about that fish-faced fuck.
I mean, like,
I don't care about Admiral Akbar.
You know, I loved it when Admiral Akbar went, "It's a trap."
Yeah, everybody loves that.
That's about it.
That's great, but it's like, I don't need him to be a fucking supporting character in this movie. Get that fucking guy out of here.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about that lobster. Just weird to me, the things that some Star Wars fans choose to care about. It's like, oh, they fucking...
It's the Boba Fett thing.
Yeah.
It's like in the movies, Boba Fett's a fucking loser, and
Yeah.
then somehow the fans decided he was the coolest character.
Right, because he had a good toy.
And now that's gonna happen with every glove shido in this fucking franchise.
Yeah. People also had that sort of reaction to how Captain Phasma is treated in this movie too. It was sort of like a similar thing to like how they felt about Akbar, and it's the Boba Fett thing with her, where it's like she's got cool armor, so people thought that she should have been a bigger part of the movie, but it's like no, she's like just fucking a heavy.
I mean, if anything, like she's more of a joke in the first movie, where she's really cool, and then Finn's like, all right, let's fucking throw her in the trash compactor, and we don't see anything from her.
Yeah,
here she at least like gets a fight and gets a cool death.
I like her fight. Yeah.
We'll
talk about that later.
And that's the other thing too. I think in the lead up to this, in the lead up to Force Awakens, there was so much speculation, so much focus on the internet of the casting and rumors and plot details and stuff like this. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of the problem that these movies ran into, whether they were going to be good or not. The fact that they were being released in the age of the internet,
right,
meant they were going to be scrutinized by everyone,
right,
on a level that the other films hadn't been before.
Right, and so suddenly every fucking random 2-second character who gets like one frame of a trailer has like a whole fucking online fan theory written about them before the movie even comes out. It's like everybody's like, oh, who's that guy riding the little creature who fucking Rey meets on Jakku in The Force Awakens? And it's like, the answer's fucking nobody. It doesn't fucking matter. But like people saw him in the trailer and were like, oh, is this guy important?
Yeah, and I mean like Gwendolyn Christie was, hot shit at the moment because of Game of Thrones and stuff like that. And even Donald Gleason was having a really good, good couple of years. And I was watching Force Awakens kind of waiting to see where these characters go. But it's like, thinking about it, I can't imagine watching the original Star Wars and being like, oh man, they got Peter Cushing as Grand Moff Tarkin.
Right.
Wonder what his 3-movie arc is going to be.
Right. It's like, no, he's just fucking on the Death Star and it explodes and that's the end of Peter Cushing. He gets like 5 great scenes and then he's done in the franchise, Anyway, yeah, I cannot fathom why anyone gives a shit about Admiral Akbar. Right. So the siege thing setup happens, and then when Leia is comatose because she took a little trip in space, we get introduced to purple hair Laura Dern as Admiral Holdo. And like there's immediately the power struggle thing between her and Poe, which is like the main thing between the two of them in this movie. Also, though, like, it's a power struggle, but I don't know if you were picking this up, David, but I think there is mad sexual chemistry between Holdo and Poe. Like, Laura Dern and Oscar Isaac, like, when she's dressing him down, she's like, oh, I know, like, lots of, I'm familiar with your type. Well, like a hot shit fly boy. You think you know what's up, And I was like, oh, fuck. I think she, like, wants him. I think she's negging him in a sexual way.
Maybe. I think there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of like you compensating for something there, Flyboy.
Yeah, especially
kind of vibe to it.
Like later when Leia like comes back and knocks him out, and then they're talking about him while he's knocked out. Holdo's like, yeah, like he's a fiery one. I like him, and I'm like, I know you do.
There's a lot of criticism directed at Holdo's withholding of her plan and like her being so hostile to Poe. I think there is maybe a little bit of that is somewhat unearned and like maybe is too just like another level of complexity that I don't know that this movie needs. But at the same time, I think knowing him by reputation and being like, oh yeah, this is the guy who just fucking got all of our bombers destroyed to take down one big ship.
Yeah, and this is also the guy who ignores orders. So of course I'm not going to tell him what the fucking plan is.
Yeah,
yeah.
How do you feel about Holdo and Laura Dern in this movie?
I like Laura Dern in this movie. I've never disliked Laura Dern in anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you put Dern in a movie, and I'm a happy man. Is this only her second appearance on this podcast? Because she's obviously in
No, this is her
Inland Empire.
third because of Jurassic Park 3.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah, man. Wow, I really do like Laura Dern and everything, but Jurassic Park 3 barely. Just because the script gives her so little to do. It's not her fault.
Oh man,
I like her in the movie. I fucking hate what they did to Ellie Sattler.
Just wait until you get to Jurassic World Dominion, where the entire movie she's investigating locusts.
Oh god,
not dinosaurs, locusts.
Yeah, I like Dern in this. I like Laura Dern in this. She's never bad. I like Holdo as a character. Like it's interesting to me that like one of the good faith criticisms I've seen of the character, because some bad faith criticisms is like, oh, she's a purple-haired SJW, and I'm like, go fuck yourself and die. But like one of the good faith criticisms I've heard is like, this character seems to occupy an outsized space in this story, considering she has never been introduced before.
That's
right?
true.
And I understand that criticism. I don't mind it, because we don't see a lot of the Resistance in The Force Awakens. We see them a little, but like mostly we're following Finn, Poe, and Rey. And you don't see a lot of what's going on at like base and shit, you know? And so I'm like, yeah, it doesn't stretch believability for me that much that there's like this important lady in the Resistance who we haven't met yet, who has a pre-existing relationship with Leia. And they seem to like go back a ways, you know, because Leia's like, oh, kind of like I taught you everything I know, sort of thing, right? And it's like, yeah, I don't mind that we're fleshing out the Resistance more and the world more by introducing this character who like other people have pre-existing relationships with, even though the audience doesn't know who she is. And like I think the script and Laura Dern do a pretty good job of building the character out enough by the time she eats shit. in amazing fashion.
I think by the end, I'm more on board.
Right,
her.
where you're like, oh yeah, I kind of know who this person is and how I feel about her.
I think the journey to get there is a little bit rocky, but it is supposed to. I mean, it's supposed to be that way.
Right, you're sort of seeing her through Poe's eyes,
yeah.
in a way, where it's like, who is this person coming in and saying that they're in charge of the movie? I thought I was the main character of the Resistance part of this movie, right? And so it's like you sort of empathize with him initially, where you're like, yeah, it seems like she doesn't really have a plan. Her plan is just to keep piloting the ship away from the Star Destroyers until we run out of fuel and then like all die, I guess, you know? And so you kind of are in his camp for a while, because she is a little bit of a black box, because she is a character that you don't already know. So you like don't really know what her motivations are and all that stuff. And it's like you have a hard time trusting her in the same way that he does, which I think works, you know?
Yeah. I'm positive on her overall. But I think mostly just because Laura Dern's doing a very good job with a difficult part. I think her character would be difficult for an actress to portray.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this, and I was like, could anyone else pull off Holdo? Like, is Laura Dern the most important piece of casting in this movie? Is kind of a thing that I was thinking of this time watching it. And the answer that I landed on is, number one, like, I kind of think she is the most important piece of casting in this movie, but also number two, I can think of one other actor who maybe could make this work in the same way that she does, and for some reason that was Tilda Swinton. I was like,
oh yeah,
if this was Tilda Swinton, I feel like it would also accomplish the same thing.
I think if it was Tilda Swinton, people would accept it a little bit more too.
Yeah,
I think because we're used to Tilda Swinton having a little bit more of an icier edge to her.
Right. We're used to her being like authoritative.
Whereas like a fucking Star Wars fan is like, oh, it's the lady from Jurassic Park, and she's being an asshole to Oscar Isaac for some reason.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm okay with the purple hair now that I've seen Twin Peaks: The Return and seen Laura Dern in so many different colored wigs in The Return.
I like the purple hair. Why wouldn't a lady in space have purple hair? You know? Like, is she part alien? Maybe. Does she just dye it that way? Maybe. Who gives a shit? We're on a fucking spaceship. There's fucking space wizards. Why can't this lady have purple hair? Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I like it. I like Holdo. I think she's good. Yeah, so like basically there's all the tension on the ship. Around here we like check back in on the island. And I might be mixing up the sequencing of some of this shit, but it, you know.
Yeah.
We're going back and forth in classic Star Wars fashion. So like on the island, like Luke is finally like, okay, I will teach you. Because like Rey has been persistent enough, and the thing that really changes his mind is she intuitively finds the tree with all the sacred Jedi texts.
Yes.
It's like calling to her. And so she finds that place like on her own, and he sees that she has like been drawn there and is like, okay, fine, I'll teach you.
Right, because
clearly there's something here.
He's asking her about who she is and why she's here, and trying to drill down to that answer, because what she's saying is like, well, you're Luke Skywalker and we need you to help the Resistance because you're Luke Skywalker. And that's not what he wants to hear. He doesn't want to be remembered as a legend. And what she says that gets to him is like, I'm looking for someone to show me my place in all this. You know, I'm experiencing these feelings and these powers that I've never dealt with before, and I want someone to show me the way.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, cool. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you 3 lessons about why the Jedi suck ass.
Yep. And that's the extent of your teaching. Go ahead.
I do want to say, like, there's one. We haven't mentioned Chewie, but Chewie's not really in the movie, but Chewie's here.
He's here. Chewie's in the movie, I think, an appropriate amount.
At this point in the franchise, we have enough Chewie.
I get enough Chewie. I also get enough 3PO in this movie.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Chewie kicking down the door to Luke's hut.
Yes, I do love that.
And Luke basically being like, well, you're here, and the Falcon's here. Where's Han? I kind of think one of the real flaws that I feel watching this and then thinking about Force Awakens is we never really take a moment to mourn Han.
Yeah.
And that's like one of those fan things, those nitpicky fan things that I'm like, it would be nice to just have a moment.
The thing that gets closest to it in this movie for me is at the end when Kylo Ren has the dice and then they disappear, right? Because it's like, it was never actually real. It was a projection, like a force projection that Luke made. And him like looking at the dice and then seeing them vanish feels to me like a real moment where we're like meditating on that loss and like what it means to Kylo Ren, like his son, right? But it's like, I agree. Outside of that moment, I feel like we don't reckon with it as much as maybe we could.
Yeah, and even if Luke just gave us like a few words about, you know, where, like, maybe the last time he saw Han, like where he and Han left off, or we had some kind of reflection on it in Force Awakens right after he died. I would like that. I think that would be an overall benefit to these films, because my thing with the dice is like, so
nobody gives a shit about the dice.
No one cares about the dice. The dice.
They make such a big deal about the dice in this movie.
The dice are in one scene in the original trilogy, and they were edited out of the rest of them. Like one scene, I think, in the first movie.
Yeah,
and they were edited out. You can't even see them in the other shots of the Falcon. And watching it in the theater, your brain goes, "Oh, those are the dice that he used to win the Falcon." Like that. Okay, that makes sense. But then the second thought that comes is, oh, and this is going to be a fucking setup for the Han Solo movie.
Yeah.
And they're going to have more about it in the Han Solo movie.
Yep. And they sure do.
And I still kind of feel that watching it this time.
Me too. I don't give a shit about the dice. I like that how they're used in that moment with Kylo Ren, but like the dice themselves, I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah. So yeah, we're starting Jedi training.
Yeah. I really like the first, well, actually, before we get to the first scene. So like, she has her first like vision of Kylo Ren around here. Like, I think after he says he's going to teach her, but before the first lesson, is when they start force Skyping. First of all, I love the decision to just use simple editing, just a cut.
God, it's so good.
A cut from a shot of Daisy Ridley to a shot of Adam Driver.
Yeah, the build up to it in that first scene, as you start sort of thinking about it, like before it even happens, I love the visual language that they use to build up to those moments.
Me too. And I love the audio cues for those moments happening where all the sound cuts out. Like there's like background noise, like wind and waves and stuff when you're with Rey, and then all that audio will drop out, and that's how you know that she is seeing him. before you even cut to the shot of Adam Driver. I think all of that stuff is handled so beautifully. It is so simple. It reads so well. Like, it's so clear what's happening. And so we get like the first one of those here where she's basically like, I don't know how this is happening. And he's like, wait, like, are you doing this?
I like how nonplussed he is about the whole thing. He's like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Right.
I've never seen this before.
Oh, this is weird. I didn't know you could do that. And I like that his first reaction is basically like, this is impossible because you are not that good at using the Force. Doing this would kill you. So what the fuck is going on?
Which is a nice setup for what happens to Luke at the end of the movie.
It is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the first couple interactions are basically her just being like, I hate you, I'll never be like you, and him being like, hey, sexy lady, how you doing? That kind of feels like his energy. He's just like, oh, hey, there's a hot babe on the bridge all of a sudden. I wasn't expecting that.
I remember as these movies were going on, like the fan speculation online and was like that they were going to get together at some point, and there were the people who were like shipping them and all that.
Yeah.
And then I remember watching Rise of Skywalker and them kissing, and just like the entire theater being like, oh, God. It was like the visceral reaction that the audience had to them getting together, where I was like, yeah, I don't think anyone really wanted this.
I kind of did. I just think Rise of Skywalker didn't earn it. You know?
I think that's true. I think there are arcs in Rise of Skywalker that I like as a plot point, as a bullet point
idea, right,
on the character arc sheet that are not earned or executed well.
I kind of think Kylo Ren and Rey getting together after this movie, because they do have a lot of chemistry and tension. The scene where they touch hands is hot. It's hot and sexy, I think. And so it's like, after this movie, if there was an episode 9 that actually like continued character stuff from this movie, I could see them earning Kylo Ren turning back to the light side and him and Rey having like a romantic relationship that feels like earned, you know? But the way it happens in Rise of Skywalker just kind of feels tacked on. Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh yeah, and people wanted to see them kiss, so I guess here's them kissing or whatever, you know? But yeah, the other thing that happens, other than her having a vision of him for the first time, is pretty important for our podcast, David, because we haven't talked about the Porgs yet, right?
Okay, I'm glad you also wrote this down.
We haven't talked about the Porgs yet. So first of all, before I get to the thing that I need to address, just general feelings about the Porgs. How do you feel about Porgs, David?
I'm pro Porg.
I love Porgs.
There's just enough of them in this movie. They're not overdone.
Yeah.
I love that they're a practical thing. They get a handful of cute, funny moments, which is part and parcel with Star Wars. It's been there from the beginning.
Their design is great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like we both like Porgs.
Yeah,
we're both pro Porg.
I like when they're stepping on Luke's lightsaber.
Yes,
and like you think a Porg's about to get a fucking laser sword through the head.
I like that they just get in everything too. Like when they leave the island, the Falcon is just full of Porgs.
Are there Porgs? Do we still have Porgs hanging around in Episode 9?
I think there's some Porgs in Episode 9. I think there's like a Porg or two still hanging around.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember if Babu Frick ever interacts with a Porg, but if not, that's a missed opportunity.
Babu Frick getting a Porg drunk?
I think Babu Frick just like riding a Porg, maybe, like it's a horse. But yeah, so the thing that we need to address is while Rey is having her vision of Kylo Ren, Chewbacca is sitting down at a campfire with what appears to be a roasted like rotisserie Porg. It is time for another installment of
Would We Eat This?
David, I kind of have it's kind of a part A and part B of this question this time around.
Yeah.
Because number one, would you eat a Porg if like just not in the situation that Chewbacca's in? Like if someone handed this thing to you, would you eat it? Is part A, right? Part B is, would you, if you were in Chewbacca's shoes, where you are sitting down at a campfire with your roasted Porg, surrounded by living Porgs who are looking on in horror at the act that you were about to commit with the cutest faces and big little eyes that you've ever seen, right? So it's like, would you eat a porg in isolation? And also, would you eat a porg while being actively judged by its porg brethren, I guess?
It's a very good question. I was actually going to ask you the same thing with that two-parter question.
Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same wavelength.
First of all, let's just get this one out of the way.
Yeah.
Rotisserie porg, fucking definitely. The caramelization on this thing is beautiful.
This looks delicious. I would eat. It's like Cornish game hen sized, basically. I would eat like 8 of these in one sitting.
Oh yeah, it's like it. I've never had roasted pig on a spit.
Yeah,
this looks way better than roasted pig.
It looks so good.
So absolutely. Now, would I eat it in front of an actual porg? I'm probably taking a little nibble of it.
Yeah.
I'm probably just like, yeah, that's you.
Yeah.
Now scurry. I wouldn't eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
But if it looked at me like that, I would probably take a little bit of a bite of it just to let it know where it is on the food chain.
Right.
Like I think
like, don't guilt trip me. I can cook you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so like, here's the thing for me, right? Like, first of all, like, yeah, hard yes on just eating a porg, not in front of other porgs. Just like if you plop this thing down on a plate in front of me, I would eat it immediately.
I don't think I would hunt and kill a porg unless I was in a survival situation.
No, yeah, I certainly would not want to kill a porg.
Yeah.
I think I would prefer to live off of like the giant mutant ugly fish that like Luke is eating, because he doesn't seem to be eating porgs, you know.
Yeah.
So, but if I was in Chewbacca's situation, I thought long and hard about this because I was like, man, I don't think I could bring myself to do it. They're just so cute. And the ones looking at him with like the little trembling lower lip, and he's like shaking in fear, and he looks like his eyes are so sad. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I could do it. But then I just kept having the thought where I'm like, yeah, but the porg in my hand is already dead and cooked though. What am I going to do? Waste this meat?
Yeah.
That feels more disrespectful to the dead porg. So I think I would turn my back on the porgs looking on in horror, and then I'm just housing that thing. Like I gotta honor the life by consuming it once it's already cooked. Otherwise, it's just trash. Anyway, this has been Would We Eat This? So, like, lesson 1 on the island with Luke and Rey. I love this scene.
Yeah.
It's so good. Because it's basically like Luke takes her to the like little rock outcrop that like juts out from this cave, which is like a very iconic location in this movie. I feel like after watching this movie for the first time in the theater, like this location stuck with me for a really long time until I watched the movie again.
I even remember it from the trailers, like the wide shots or the establishing shots of her swinging the lightsaber around up there. Like it gave me like a great sense of what this movie was going to be about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's well used in this scene too.
Yeah.
So he's basically trying to teach her about the Force. What I love about Rian Johnson's interpretation of the Force is it gets us away from two things. One is midichlorians.
Yes.
It doesn't over-explain the Force. It doesn't add any sort of scientific world-building layer to what the Force is. It just gets us away from that immediately.
Rian Johnson does everything but say, fuck midichlorians, that shit doesn't exist in this script. He basically does all he can to get that point across without actively saying it.
Yeah. The other thing he does is he doesn't treat the Force as a superpower.
Yes.
It's not this thing you can use to move objects or crush things or use it as lightning. It's like, the way that when Rey finally listens to Luke and like tries to take in her surroundings and feel the island, the way she describes it as this living force between all beings, and the way that all of these things have to exist in balance is such beautiful writing. It's some of the best writing in these movies.
It's also one of my favorite visual sequences in the whole movie, when we're going around the island and seeing like we go underground when she mentions decay, and we see like a skeleton buried in the earth from some animal, right? And we see like the grass growing and dying, and you know the waves crashing onto the rocks and stuff. It's like I love how this is shot and edited together. And yeah, I love the way it's written too.
And it feels true to the way that Yoda describes it to Luke and Empire.
Yes, this is, to me, this is the only time outside of, well, no, also Rogue One, a movie that I also love. This and Rogue One are the only movies outside of the original trilogy where the Force as a religion, right? The Jedi as a religious group feels like a thing that we're actually exploring, right? It feels like, oh yeah, like this is spirituality. It's not midichlorians, it's not science, right? It's like, this is like faith. You know?
And I think this is the first and maybe only time in a mainline Star Wars film that we hear the Jedi described as a religion outside of the original Star Wars.
Yes, because in A New Hope, Tarkin says it.
Yeah,
but like that's the only other time that we really get that. Yeah,
and the fact that I guess kind of in my head canon that the entirety of the Force, what the Force is represented on this little island, both the light side and the dark side, and the balance that exists between them and the way these things interact. That feels so much more interesting to me than any sort of like long drawn out exposition on where the Force came from.
Yeah.
This place feels ancient. It feels tied to the Force in a way that the movie never really explains it all that much.
Yeah.
But it seems like this place is really related to that. And just the image of the tree with the original sacred Jedi texts in there. And it's like, yeah, this is what this all started from.
Yeah.
It all started from philosophy and religion. And when I say that, I'm also referring to just Star Wars itself as a creative property, as a thing that was dreamed up by George Lucas in the 70s. He was interested in exploring philosophy and religion. And I think he does a great job of that in the original trilogy. He wanted to do something different in the prequels and explore like the rise and fall of empires. And I think that was way out of his wheelhouse, unfortunately.
Right.
But I think overall, I think Rian Johnson understands why we love Star Wars, and one of the things that we love about it is how it connects to myth and how mythology informs us.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the idea that being like a hero in this world, like a Jedi, right, doesn't mean having superpowers. It means being connected to something bigger than yourself, which I think is like just such a beautiful kind of way that the Force is framed in this movie, like you were talking about. And like I think Luke even has a line where it's like, the Force isn't something you have, right? It's like something that you're like a part of. And it's like, yeah, being like a fighter for the light side, for the resistance, for good in this universe, right, doesn't mean accumulating power for yourself that you can wield. It means like recognizing that you're like a part of a bigger collective, like a bigger picture, and like you're just a piece of it. And the more aware you are of your own place in like this bigger picture, the like better you are at using the Force. Right? It's like the more you accept that like you're one small piece of a bigger picture, like that enables you to like get better at using the Force. And I think that that's like it's a cool message. Yeah.
I think kind of things jump around here. We get more with Finn and Rose, but I think I want to stay focused on Luke and Rey for now.
Yeah, we'll do more of the island stuff.
Yeah. The second lesson.
Well, in the first lesson, sorry, I do want to call this out.
Yeah.
In the first lesson, she's feeling the whole island.
Oh, right.
and then she feels the butthole of the dark side. This hole in the island does sort of, it is a little anal to me. Do you disagree?
No.
The vines around the edge kind of like give it the impression of kind of a wrinkly butthole.
It is a butthole.
It's the butthole of the dark side.
Much like the Sarlacc pit.
Yes. Yeah. But she feels the butthole of the dark side calling to her. And she's immediately sort of like, hey, what's this? Like, I'm feeling something else. I'm going towards it, right? And Luke is alarmed by that because he's basically like, hey, you heard the dark side calling to you and you, like, just went unquestioningly toward it. And so he immediately is kind of like, I got to watch this one because this is dangerous. Also, I just really like that moment visually because like her consciousness kind of like goes down into the pit and it's like water down there, and then water like falls from the sky, like she gets drenched from above, and then like she's actually wet, so it's like clear that some force magic space-time shit has happened where like even though there's not a cloud in the sky and it didn't like rain on her, like this water from like the dark side pool like teleported above her and like dropped on her. It's just a cool moment.
Yeah, she has some sort of connection to it.
Yeah, which I really like. And I like how much it freaks Luke out.
Yeah,
I like his line about like, you know, I've seen this type of power before in Kylo Ren. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now, right? She also has a conversation with Kylo Ren, I think, around here. It's the one where she shoots the hole in the wall of the hut. And the fish people get mad.
Yeah, Luke's little collection of
they're fucking fish nuns.
They're just like, he's just got a bunch of nonas hanging out with him on this island.
Yes, they're basically nuns because their purpose is to like they seem to be acolytes of the Jedi religion, like practicers of the Jedi religion, but they're not actually like able to be like full-fledged Jedi. They're just sort of caretakers of all the Jedi's shit, much the way that nuns in the Vatican are, right? Where it's like, yeah, they cook the meals and keep everything clean.
They also look like they can cook a lasagna.
Yeah, manage people's calendars.
Make a dessert.
Yeah. I also like when Rey's practicing with the lightsaber and she like cuts the top off that rock and it like bounces down the hill and destroys the wheelbarrow that one of us pushing. It's just stuck with the handles.
Look, I don't like this lady you hanging out with. She destroys everything.
Look,
she making it very difficult for me and the fish people here.
Mamma mia.
We try to take care of the island. We make it so beautiful and nice for you, and she destroy everything. She ruin everything. I don't like her. Get her out of here.
That really gives another meaning to like the 5 fishes meal. Right? Is it 5 fishes? I'm talking
7 fishes.
7 fishes. Apologies. I'm not of the culture.
Yeah. Check yourself when you talk about my culture.
Yeah.
Feast of the 7 Fishes was not at least I don't remember it as a key thing when I grew up. Like, my family's aware of it, and my family, you know, there are people in my family who have practiced it, but I don't necessarily remember going over to Grandma's house for Feast of the 7 Fishes.
Gotcha. Yeah. All I'm saying is these fish people. Feast of the 7 Fishes probably hits different when like
Feast
your chef is a fucking fish.
Feast of the 7 Porgs, probably.
Oh yeah. Do you think these fish people are eating the porgs? They must be, right? They're at least eating the eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up a porg omelet in the morning.
Oh man, I would definitely eat a porg egg. Like,
oh yeah,
that's ethical. If it's unfertilized and there's not a little porg growing in there, I don't give a shit. I'll eat the fuck out of a porg egg. I also like when you see little baby porgs in the nests. Those are really cute. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I had to derail us to talk about the fish people. You were going to talk about.
We did need to bring them up.
Yeah.
The second lesson is I love this location too. The cave with the pool.
Yeah.
The little shallow pool that's there. And Luke talks about the legacy of the Jedi being one of failure. And I love this for 2 reasons. I love that it kind of sets up the theme of Luke reckoning with failure. And it also kind of addresses what one could maybe argue is a plot hole with the prequels. That's the Jedi suck in the prequels, and it's hard to tell if that's intentional or if it's because George Lucas isn't a very good screenwriter.
Right. There are like hundreds of Jedi in the prequels. There's 2 fucking Sith. There are 2 of them. And it's like, you guys can't fucking... Your whole stated job as Jedi, like, the thing that you do is kill Sith Lords, right? Like, fucking Obi-Wan even says it. He's like, Sith Lords are our speciality. And it's like, clearly not, motherfucker.
Yeah,
you couldn't handle 2 of them.
Especially because the Sith were supposed to be extinct for generations or whatever before.
Yeah, and I get, like, whatever.
Darth Maul showed up.
The canon explanation is, like, whatever. Like, Palpatine is super strong with the Force. He's clouding their whatever. And it's like, yeah, sure, okay. But also, like, get good? Like, if he's that good at using the Force, I don't know, maybe fucking learn your masters a little better.
Yeah.
You know, like Yoda, why were you not on his level?
And then we get Luke's side of the story here about how he decided to start up a Jedi temple with Ben Solo and a few students, and he saw the darkness growing in Ben, but ignored it and carried on. And then it reached a point where he was so scared of it that he just tried to take action. And then that caused him to, caused Ben to fall to the dark side and burn down the temple, escape with his students. Mm-hmm. And I love the theme of failure as a self-fulfilling prophecy in this movie.
Yeah, me too.
And applying that to Luke Skywalker, a man who is so afraid of failing the way that Obi-Wan Kenobi did to prevent the rise of evil, to prevent the fall of his Padawan to the dark side. That is reflected in Luke's journey.
Right.
And that's reflected in what Luke did. And I like the way that we tease this out more throughout the movie. And
Me too.
We get more sides of it, and we get Kylo's side here coming up in with this next.
The next time they like talk to each other through the Force, Kylo kind of tells his side of the story, and he's like, "Hey, like, did he tell you what happened?" And she's like, "Yeah, he did." And he's like, "He didn't tell you everything." And we basically get, like, from his perspective, he like woke up with Luke holding a lightsaber over him about to kill him, you know? And like, I like that when it comes together, the third time we see this flashback, it all sort of coalesces into a thing where it's like, they're both very clearly telling their side of the truth. And like, both of the things are true, but it's like not, it's more complicated than either of their perspectives on it, you know? Because it's like, and I like when Luke is reckoning with it, when he tells the whole truth to Rey later, when he realizes that she already knows, right? Because she was talking to Kylo Ren about it. He's like, yeah, I thought about just killing him and ending it, right? Because I saw this darkness in him that I was so afraid of. Like, I was so afraid of him becoming this thing that I like thought about like taking an innocent boy's life, basically, because of the potential that he had to do evil. And he's like, and that was a moment of weakness in me that I like shut down, but like it was too late because he already saw that moment of weakness, mm-hmm. right? And reacted to it. And
rather than learning from and growing past his failure and his weakness, he's just chosen to dwell on it.
Right. And to shut himself off from everything and everyone because he's afraid he's going to just do more harm, right? That the Jedi ways that he carries, he's the sole person who carries on this tradition, right? That he believes can only bring about more harm. It's basically like he seems to think like, as long as there are Jedi are going to make Sith, right? And so it's like the only way for both of these things to go away forever is for it to all just die out.
Yeah, the cycle's just going to perpetuate itself.
Yeah. And there's like a sympathetic side to that you do understand, even though ultimately the movie kind of is on the side of like, he's not really in the right. It's like his perspective is something that you definitely can understand, you know? And I like it. I love all the stuff with the flashback. I think it's great.
Yeah. I love the stick fight that Rey and Luke.
Yes.
Rey and Luke have. I think it's when they get close to touching, and Luke comes into the hut.
They
and
do
sees them
touch.
both.
Their fingers touch.
Yeah, and he's in there with her.
Yes, and right, and then Luke opens the door and he sees Kylo Ren there, which I love. I love when the Force is magic, right? Because it's like, what is the fucking midichlorian explanation that he like astral projected? Like, I don't fucking give a shit. It's magic. They're space wizards.
I like when it's magic motivated by character and theme.
Right. Yep.
I think there are parts in these, in all Star Wars movies where it is just magic, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of fun, and that can be, makes for a cool mechanic in a video game eventually. When it's like, ooh, I get to use Force lightning in a video game.
Right. Yeah.
But I think what this movie wisely does is keep the Force restricted to its function as an aspect of mythology and an aspect of religion. Yeah. And those themes that Star Wars was founded on.
Yeah.
I really like the stick fight that she has with Luke.
Yes, it's good.
I really like when she draws her lightsaber on him as if to say, like, look how that feels.
Yeah.
And then, puts it down and reaches for his hand. And he explains more of the story and more of, how it was a moment of weakness. But once it had passed, he realized the damage had already been done. Yeah. And he had, damaged and scarred this little boy forever.
Yeah.
And Rey's assertion that, like, there's still good in him. I've seen his path, and, like, I know that we can change this, because I think that's what, people always made the joke that, like, okay, she sees him with his shirt off and then decides that they're friends now.
Right.
But really what I think it is that she sees that they're kindred spirits and they're on a similar path.
Right. They're both trying to figure out their purpose.
And we didn't talk about the scene where she goes to the dark place.
Yes. Oh, we need to talk about
because I think we could probably wrap up island stuff here and then go to Canto Bight with Finn and Rose.
Yeah,
because we haven't done that yet.
Yeah, other than the dark side pit, the only other island moment that I really wanted to talk about is, like, there's just a great little scene where Luke meets R2 again for the first time.
Oh yeah,
and that's a beautiful little, like, it's a nice little nostalgia. Like, we're doing a little fan service, getting these characters back together, and then the moment that really elevates that scene for me is because Luke is still conflicted about helping Rey in that scene. I don't remember exactly where it falls, if it's before he starts teaching her or in the middle somewhere, but R2 replays the "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope" message from A New Hope, and Luke says, like, oh, that's cheap, like, that was a cheap shot or whatever. And it, like, I love that because it's like, it feels so in line with Luke's character in this movie to be like, oh, like, you're emotionally manipulating me on purpose, like, I see what's up here, right? I'm hip to this. But it also feels like a meta commentary on that moment, being like, yeah, man, it still works seeing R2-D2 like do the hologram of young Carrie Fisher, and, like, we as the movie are acknowledging that, like, it kind of is cheap and sucks that this works every time, but it works every time. There's magic in it, It feels like the movie allowing itself to do shameless fan service in a way that lets you as the audience member know that the movie is doing it not because it doesn't respect you, but because it knows why you care about Star Wars.
Yeah, I think so too. It's not, the chessboard turning on in Force Awakens for no reason.
Totally.
It feels motivated, and R2 trying to communicate with him, like, hey, remember in the first movie when you experienced the call to adventure on your Campbellian hero's journey arc?
Right. Maybe that's happening to somebody else right now, and you need to be a part of it.
Yeah, remember what it felt like. Remember what you thought you were fighting for in that moment, because you're still fighting for it today. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
But R2-D2 communicates in beeps and boops and projections, so that's how we do it.
I like that little moment.
Yes, I think
it's
that.
Nice.
What I wanted to say about the dark place scene, what I really like about that scene, she's narrating what she's experiencing in that moment, and it feels like it's on like a non-diegetic. It feels like it's to the audience.
Right.
Until at the end, we realize she's narrating it to Kylo.
At first, you just see that she's talking to someone. And at least me, the first time in the theater, I thought she was saying all this to Luke. And then the reveal that it is Kylo is very interesting. Where it's like, oh, she feels like she can confide in him, you know? And it's just a way of showing that they're like getting closer together because, yeah, they are kind of in the same position. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the dark place scene. This is maybe my favorite scene in the movie. It's up there. I love the imagery of her in the mirror, and then her kind of going into the mirror wall, and there being all of these endless copies of her that are all copying her gestures, but like a second behind. And first of all, it's just cool. It's just cool imagery and cool sound design, and it's well shot and it looks awesome. And also, this as a visual representation of her, of the kind of the crux of her character arc in this movie, which is like she as a character keeps asking, like textually in the screenplay, why am I in this movie? Right? The character of Rey seems to keep asking, why am I in Star Wars? Right? And Luke asks her that too. Like, why are you in Star Wars? Right? And like this visual moment foreshadows the reveal that happens in the throne room, right? Which is that like there is no reason for her to be in Star Wars other than she's Rey, right? Like we're figuring out who Rey is and where her place in Star Wars is, and she doesn't need to fit into any existing box. She can just be part of the story because she is, you know? And that feels so important. It feels like such an important departure for this franchise. For the movie to explicitly say, like, the hero of this movie, the hero of your life, the hero of your story, doesn't need to be someone important, doesn't need to be someone from somewhere. Like, you're the hero of your story because you're you know? And it's like, that's scary. Because it's like, well, then the question is like, well, who am I? And it's like, well, you kind of have to decide that. Like, you kind of have to make choices and learn and fail to determine who you are, right? And there's not going to be an easy answer. Nobody's going to be able to walk up to you and say, oh, you're the hero of this story because of who your dad is, right? It's like, no, you just have to live with the knowledge that you are who you are, and who you are is a constructed reality that you make for yourself. And I think this as a visual metaphor for that is so striking and kind of feels like it's from a better movie than any Star Wars movie to me.
Well, it's the first time that Star Wars has decided to be a little bit creepy and weird and mythic and even take some influence from horror since Luke experiences that similar scene in Empire when he defeats Darth Vader on Dagobah, and it's his face under the helmet.
And that moment is the exact opposite of this moment thematically, but both are good and true, right?
Yeah.
Because in Empire, when Luke sees himself under the mask, and I agree, this scene feels very, very much like a spiritual successor to that scene, right? In a good way. And that the scene in Empire, to me, has always been about like confronting the darkness that is in yourself because of where you come from, because of who you are, right? It's like, yeah, the sins of your fathers sometimes do follow you around in life, right? And that feels so much like what that scene's about. And then this scene is sort of the inverse of that. It's like about the terror of confronting the fact that you have to create your own meaning, right? And that that your life is not determined by the people who came before you, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's one of the smartest moments in any Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. I agree. You said this was your favorite scene. we should talk about my favorite scene and then move to Canto Bight.
Okay.
Because Rey and Luke basically have a falling out. Rey is like, I'm going to go turn him. She heads to the Falcon.
Right.
And then Luke heads to the Jedi tree with a flare to burn it down.
Yeah.
And Yoda shows up.
Yeah.
And this is the best scene in the movie.
David. Okay, sorry. You had your mouth open to say something else. Say what you were going to say.
This puppet looks so fucking good.
Yeah.
I felt my heart break in the theater watching this.
Yes. Also, Frank motherfucking Oz delivers maybe the best Yoda voice performance.
Okay, I was going to ask
out of any Star Wars movie in this one.
I was going to ask, is he putting a little Miss Piggy stank on this?
I think that's what
just
I like
a hint of it.
I think that's what I like. They've never been that far apart.
We've done a couple Muppet movies on this podcast, and I have rewatched other Star Wars movies while we've been doing this. But I don't think it really occurred to me until this movie how close they are.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if I was just if he's always been like this, and I just didn't know.
I think maybe as he ages, he's aging more into the Miss Piggy side of the voice spectrum, the vocal spectrum, versus the Yoda side of the vocal spectrum. I just think his old man pipes are kind of drifting towards Miss Piggy, right? But yeah, I love his vocal performance in this movie. I think he brings as much or more to the character than ever in this scene.
Yeah.
And the puppet, I agree, looks magnificent.
The magic of seeing Luke Skywalker interact with this puppet.
Yeah.
Feels so true to the core of what Star Wars is. And when what he's talking about here, where Luke is going to go burn down the Jedi text and burn down the tree and basically reject everything that he's come from. And then Yoda comes along and was like, yeah, have you read those books? Page turners, they were not.
Yes.
And burns it down with the lightning.
I love the moment where Luke is about to not go through with it. Like, he's about to light the tree up with his fucking sick-ass lightsaber handle lighter, where it looks like the handle of a lightsaber, but then just like a lighter flame pops out of it. It's so sick.
Yeah, it looks like a vintage Jedi cigarette lighter or something.
I love this thing.
From the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the moment where he's about to do it, and then he kind of can't. He's sort of like too attached still to the tradition. And Yoda's like, nah, motherfucker, you made this decision. We're going to watch this fucking tree burn, you know? And like summons lightning. Yeah.
And the message to me is like, you kind of just got to have to let go of that stuff.
Yeah.
And you have to move on based on your own feelings and intuition and who you are, rather than ascribing yourself to a belief system that someone else made for you. I mean, and it's not necessarily a commentary on religion.
Yeah.
But
it's more a commentary on tradition, I think.
Yeah.
Right? I think the thing to me that I get from this is it's a critique of following tradition for tradition's sake, right? Doing these things, reading these books, ascribing to these ideas because that's what we've always done, right? And what Yoda is sort of saying to him in this scene is it's like, you need to pass on what you've learned, right? What's important is not the tradition. What's important is what you have taken from it and the lessons you've learned that you can impart to the younger generation. Like, that's the value in carrying on the tradition. It's not in keeping everything exactly the way it was. It's allowing it to evolve based on your perspective and your lived experience. And the most beautiful thing that Yoda says in the scene is like, we have to pass on lessons to the younger generation, not just our strengths and our successes, right? But our failures, right? And he's like, that's the most important thing to teach them, right? Is not how to be the perfect Jedi, right? It's what to do when you fail, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like such a powerful message. And would you believe that Star Wars: The Last Jedi has a cry count, David?
I feel like I almost cried a few times. I don't know that I got to like Titanic levels.
I was crying during this movie.
Is this let me think here.
I was crying a surprising amount during this movie. I don't want you to aim too high because I said that. But
Right.
It was more than I expected to cry during The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 3.
All right. The guess is 3. Well, the first time I cried, David, watching The Last Jedi, is at the end of the scene when the two of them are sitting and watching the tree burn together after Yoda has said all of that beautiful shit. I cried watching this scene because I thought it was so beautiful and so nice.
Yeah.
And I agree, one of the best scenes in the movie. I
Yeah.
maybe like the mirror thing more because it just gets me thinking, but I love this shit.
Yeah, and people always latch on to Kylo Ren saying "Let the past die," and really, I think what the thesis of this movie is like failure's the most important teacher, and that the burden of all masters is that their students will grow beyond them and learn more than they could ever imagine.
Yeah,
and to be at peace with that and to accept that is a difficult thing.
Yeah.
And it's a great fucking scene, and this is a good movie. Okay, now we have to talk about Canto Bight,
Yes.
which many people cite as the worst thing in this movie and like a huge black mark on this film.
Yeah. We get to Canto Bight because basically like Poe is not down with Holdo's plan because he doesn't really know what it is. And he's like, okay, like if we can get Rose, Finn meets Rose, right?
Finn meets Rose. Finn is wanting to track down Rey.
Yes.
Because they have trackers.
Yeah.
The other one, they can track each other.
Yes. So basically he's like, if the First Order catches up to us and they take me prisoner, they have a tracker. I have a tracker that will lead them straight to Rey. I need to like go warn her. Right. And so Rose, I do like the scene where they first meet.
Yeah.
And Rose is like starstruck and she's like, oh, like you're Finn, the hero. And he's like, eh. And then she's like, yeah, I've been fucking tasing people who are trying to desert in the escape pods, because she has become like a real stickler about like, we're going to see this through the end because her sister sacrificed herself on that bomber. Right. So she's basically like, no one is fucking abandoning ship. Right. Because my sister didn't get a chance to do that. So nobody else should. And I like her knocking him out with the stun thing when she realizes that he's trying to get away in the escape pod. But then, so like they basically realize together that it's like, oh yeah, what we need to do is disable the tracking beacon that's on the Star Destroyer so that we can jump to light speed and they won't be able to track us. Right. But in order to do that, we need a master code breaker. So they call Maz Kanata from the Force Awakens, and I like that she's just in another movie.
Yeah, she's just in some sort of fight, and some blaster fight somewhere, and she's having this conversation while she's in the middle of it. I do feel like if there's I don't even remember what her role is in Rise of Skywalker. If there was a cool Glup Shadow that was kind of wasted in these movies, it's Maz.
Yeah. There's not enough Maz Kanata.
Yeah, I would love a little bit more about her.
Yeah. Also, just like you have Lupita Nyong'o, like why aren't you using her more?
Yeah. Yeah, that too.
But anyway, so they go to look for the Master Codebreaker, who is on Canto Bight. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we go to Canto Bight, which is Monte Carlo planet.
Right? It's a big casino. Planet.
Yes. And I don't know, David. How do you feel about Canto Bight? Because people critique this part of this movie.
I think it's good, and it is not. It does not take up too much screen time in this film. I think people overblow how long we're on Canto Bight. It is literally 2 scenes, and then we're off Canto Bight.
Yeah,
and I think thematically, what happens here is really, really interesting stuff that kind of adds more complexity to what Star Wars means. And we can talk about that when we get there. And also, visually, it's just a feast to see all these little practical freaks and all of these actors in these ridiculous costumes. And I think it's good.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I like Canto Bight too. Canto Bight is good. Fuck the haters. Canto Bight rules. I agree. Like, I was sort of surprised this viewing at how breezy and quick all the Canto Bight stuff feels. I'm like, oh wow, like this is really moving, And I don't think I ever remember it not feeling that way. I think I just absorbed some of the rhetoric about this being like, oh, and then all the Canto Bight shit. And I'm like, no, like it moves, it's propulsive. It gives you a lot of character development for Rose Tico specifically, right? And like I love all of her stuff on Canto Bight. I think it's very well written. Also, like, Kelly Marie Tran rules in this movie.
Yeah.
She rules in this movie.
Yeah. And then a bunch of people were racist to her, and J.J. Abrams was like, okay, I'm going to side with the racists and just, like, totally fuck up this character's arc in episode 9.
It sucks so bad. And John Boyega's great too.
Not that I'm saying J.J. Abrams is racist,
No,
but it's
no,
like,
but,
let's cater to the worst of the fan base
Yeah.
who liked this character for shitty, unfounded reasons.
Yeah.
Or disliked this
disliked.
character.
Yeah. But her and John Boyega also have great screen chemistry. I like seeing them interact with each other. Also, BB-8 goes with them to Canto Bight, and I fucking love BB-8 getting into shenanigans on Canto Bight. When this little fucking gremlin with mutton chops and a little top hat and a monocle or whatever the fuck this guy's deal is like putting tokens into BB-8 because he thinks he's a slot machine, fucking hilarious. And then BB-8 later shoots the coins out of the little slot and then blows on it like it's a gun.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the
dude.
function, like what the function of that part of this.
I don't know.
that little thing does, but it is cool.
I like when he gets all those coins in him and then shoots them out again.
Hey, I like it more than finding out that R2-D2 had jets.
Jetpacks the entire time?
In his legs the whole time.
Yeah, it could have come in handy at some previous points in the franchise.
At any other point in the movies.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Yeah, I think Canto Bight's good. I like Rose, like when they're going to the planet, she's talking about how bad this place sucks. And then they get there and Finn is like, hey, this place is like beautiful. It's great. And she's like, yeah, what you don't realize is like the reason it sucks so bad is because this is where all the war profiteers go to gamble all the money that they make selling weapons to Nazis.
Yeah,
like,
it's rad as fuck that Star Wars also decided to be like, yeah, also eat the rich and fuck the arms industry.
Yeah. You know what else I like in Canto Bight? The guy he seems to be like head of security or something at this casino. He's like an alien Gleep Glop guy, but inexplicably, he has like a southern accent. He sounds like he's like from Alabama. He's like, well, I don't know why that cruiser's out down on that there beach there. I told them they couldn't park it there.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he arrests them later with like the security guys, and he's like, that's them.
I like that they get arrested for a parking violation. That's funny.
Yes. I say, those are them paws sneaking their way into this here casino.
I also like Justin Theroux as Blink and You Miss It, the master code breaker.
Yes. Who has
He's
he's
just here, like, you know, swinging dick for a second at this craps table.
Wild that there are 2 actors from Inland Empire in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
You know what? You know who else it's wild is in The Last Jedi?
Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro playing the slimiest, weird little fuck-ass freak that has ever appeared in a Star Wars movie. This side of fucking Salacious Crumb. You know, like this is the weirdest little fuck since Salacious Crumb in any of these movies. His vibes are so chaotic and so weird, and I love it so much. This performance is great.
I still have mixed feelings on this performance. I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
I think the stutter is a little much.
Yes, it is, but like. It's much in a way that I like.
Yeah, it is. It is also just weird for like Benicio del Toro to just show. He's just here now. He's just in the Star Wars,
and he kind of seems confused that he's in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, he's just kind of wandered into this movie.
The character's whole vibe is like, oh, I'm in a fucking Star Wars movie. What the shit?
But I like that you're never. You know, you and the characters are never really sure what to make of this guy.
Right, where it's like, what is this guy's deal?
Yeah.
Why is he helping us? Like, obviously, because we're paying him.
Like, I like when he takes Rose's pendant because it's a specific type of metal.
Yeah.
And you think he's taking it as, like, payment, and then he uses it to close a circuit when they make it to the Star Destroyer later, and he gives it back to her.
Yes, and he gives it back to her after he and Finn have had a conversation where Finn is like, you don't know how much that means to her. So, like, part of you is like, oh, maybe Finn got through to him. Like, maybe this guy does have a heart. And it's like, even when he betrays them later, it's still kind of like, I kind of don't hate this guy, you know? He's an opportunist and he's like kind of an asshole, but also the last thing he says to Finn is like, hey, you know, sorry about it, Finn, but like they're killing you today, you'll kill them tomorrow. That's how it goes, you know? And it's like I sort of like admire that he like adheres to his moral philosophy of just like fuck both sides. I don't give a shit, whoever's paying me is in the right, you know?
Well, and
like
he's sort of like a reflection of the type of character that Finn could have been if Finn was invested, like if Finn had just gone to get Rey.
Yeah.
And done something that was, you know, inherently selfish as much as he does care about her.
Yeah.
Like Finn's whole journey in this movie is learning to fight for something bigger than yourself and fight for a community and fight for hope and change. And to see the reflection of that in DJ, which
I love that his character name is DJ, which I don't think is ever said.
I don't think they say it in the movie. Yeah. Who is just kind of been like, yeah, fuck both sides, and just he's kind of the centrist, you know. It's like it's like the folly of centrism.
Right. Where he's basically like, well, you know, at the end of the day, they're both sides are bad. So who can really say what is morally right?
Yeah, there's an element of Han Solo to him as well.
Yeah, he does kind of seem like an evil version of Han Solo. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's Han Solo if he didn't come back for them at the end of New Hope.
Right.
If he just took the money and ran.
Yeah.
We also get they break out. There's the goat horse things.
I love these things.
Yeah.
The design of these guys is great. I love their faces.
Mm-hmm. Very sad faces.
Yeah, they have sad faces. They got real big ears, kind of Pokemon-esque in their design. And we see these things getting like abused. They're like betting on like racing, like it's basically horse racing.
Yeah. And then the kids, like the stable kids are basically indentured servants.
Yeah, they just lock these kids in with these like monsters, and they're like, okay, have a nice night, see you in the morning. This is your fucking cell that you live in with a wild animal. Yeah. And I like the moment like when they break out of prison and they're like in the stables or whatever, the kid sees them and he like goes to like press the alert button, and then she's like, no, like we're from the Resistance. And it's like clear that this kid has like been hearing stories about the Resistance, and he's like, he like can't believe that like he's meeting like a hero, which is so cool because he has the same reaction to Rose that Rose had to Finn, right? Where it's like he realizes that she is part of this movement that he's been hearing about and idolizing, and he's immediately like caught up in it, like the magic of it. You know? Yeah.
And they steal the goat horse things and ride them through the literally like they wreck the casino, they ride through the city.
Yeah.
It's all fun.
I like it.
It's nice to have a fun, goopy Star Wars adventure in the middle of a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
That is otherwise kind of downtrodden and philosophical and contemplative.
Yeah. Also, just like lots of great, weird, fucking gleep glops in Canto Bight in general. Like when they're riding the these critters through the casino, you get to see a bunch of like mayhem with a bunch of like guys in rubber suits, and like some of them are CGI and shit. But yeah.
And
I do love that little gremlin freak though. That was putting the coins in BB-8. Like later, you see him and like I don't even remember what's happening, but he's loving the chaos. I feel like he gets like a drink dumped on his head or something, and he's just loving it.
I like the alien lady with giant tits that's like always doing like an opera voice, and she gets run over at some point.
Yeah. That is a wild shot where it like zooms in on her and she does like an opera, like an operatic note, and it's like, I'm not sure what this lady's deal is, but all right.
And then they think they're about to be captured by the security, and then DJ shows up in his ship with BB-8, and they think that BB-8's flying it at first because of the staircase that descends, and it's just BB-8.
I like that this ship has a spiral staircase instead of like a ramp.
Yeah.
Really fun design decision.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
And he stole it, of course.
Yeah.
And I like this part too, where he talks about like the guy he stole the ship from is, you know, these guys are arms dealers and they're selling arms to both sides.
Yes, I love that moment where like where Finn is talking about the struggle between the First Order and the Resistance in really morally black and white terms, which is normally how Star Wars operates, right? Where he's like, yeah, well, we're like trying to help the good guys because the bad guys have them cornered or whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, good guys and bad guys, right? And then yeah, he starts talking about like, yeah, the guy who owns this ship sells weapons to the bad guys, and he's like going through the schematics, and then like we get to an X-wing, and he's like, oh, and the good guys, right? And it's like, yeah, it's a little bit like it's Rian Johnson being like, let's inject a little nuance into your Star Wars and be like, hey, yeah, maybe like fascism is bad, but also just like war is bad in general, which I feel like is not really a thing that these movies have sort of tackled before. And I like that, like, it's a little bit in this movie, but they don't hit you over the head with it too much.
And I like that these Disney movies and I assume the Andor TV series too, kind of as an offshoot of Rogue One, add some more character and color to the rebels.
Yeah.
In general, and shows that like they're prone to deception and sabotage and scraping by to get their way, and it makes their struggle feel more realistic.
Yeah. And it like takes a certain type of person, right? Like it's like, yeah, if it's like a guerrilla resistance movement, like there are going to be corners within that world that are best occupied by people who are like really good at violence, And it's like those people aren't like going to be a fun hang. You get a little bit of that in Rogue One with Saw, and I know Saw Gerrera is also in the Andor TV show, but I haven't watched it. And a thing that I always like about Saw Gerrera in Rogue One is it's like, yeah, like this is a guy who's like got really bad vibes. He's like a maniac, but he's like fighting on the like moral side. He's just not a guy that you necessarily want to survive the war, right? Because it's like, if we come out on the other side of this and we're building a new republic, we want to keep Saw far away from like the new Senate and shit.
There's a scene early in Rogue One where Andor shoots one of the contacts that he's supposed to meet because the Empire's closing in or something like that, and like that's different than what we've seen before from the rebels.
Yeah, feels like some like similar nuance in this, a mainline entry in Star Wars.
Yeah. So yeah, they make it to the Star Destroyer. There's a lot of cross cutting here back and forth because we're getting into the third act here.
Yeah. So Poe stages his little mutiny against Holdo. He eventually because Rose and Finn haven't come back yet. He's getting desperate. He's basically like, I'm going to have a better plan than this lady. I really got to get her out of the driver's seat. So he mutinies and like locks her and her crew up. But then like Leia wakes back up and stuns him with the stun. I love that moment.
Leia's shooting was very funny.
It's very, because she like walks in like all like bandaged, and he's like, "Oh, Leia, like you're alive," and she immediately just like pulls up the blaster and stuns the shit out of him. And then they like all start escaping on the escape transports, because we find out that Holdo's plan has basically been like she's siphoning fuel from the big ship to let the little ships fuel up and escape. And Poe learns on the ship that he's been put on once he wakes up that it's like, yeah, Holdo knew that the big First Order ships were only like their radar was only scanning for the big cruiser. So like they weren't going to notice the escape pods. Like the escape pods weren't going to read on their radar, and we can just escape to Crate, whereas there's this like old legacy rebel base that we can like all regroup at. Right. And I like that moment is explained to him by like Holdo's like assistant, like right-hand lady, who has been around basically the whole movie, because it clarifies that like other people knew the plan. Like Holdo wasn't withholding this information from everyone. She was withholding it from a person who she knew would fuck with the plan if he knew the plan.
Right.
Right? Like everybody else was clued in. I also did want to shout out that second command lady.
Oh yeah, I was gonna do that too. She's really good.
To Holdo, I think she's great. I'm trying to find the actress's name.
Amanda Lawrence.
Amanda Lawrence, great in this movie in this little bit part. Also, we talk about guys with faces a lot, Amanda Lawrence is a woman with a face. What a face this woman has. Where anytime she's in any shot in this movie, you immediately clock her just because she looks so specific, you know? Just a great actor with a face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the final scene between Holdo and Leia.
Yeah.
As they're saying goodbye, and they're loading like knocked out Poe onto a ship, and
Lord Dern's like, I do like that guy.
I like him.
I like him.
And this scene wasn't intentionally shot as like a goodbye to Leia or Carrie Fisher, but this coming a year after her death and seeing it in the theater and seeing it now, it does feel like a farewell to her. And I like the moment where she's telling Leia, like, you've taught me so much.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems like maybe a bit of a meta thing, and sort of commenting on Princess Leia's role as a feminist character in popular culture.
Yeah.
And what she has done, or what she did to break the mold of the damsel in distress stereotype for a generation of young girls. The same way that this movie is commenting on Luke Skywalker's role as a hero for young boys, or a hero in the the context of the story itself.
Yeah.
And then so Rose and Finn do the Star Destroyer heist. I like that it feels like a little heist. I like evil BB-8.
Oh, evil BB-8 is so fun. I also like the part where BB-8 puts a trash can on top of himself and pretends to be a big mouse droid.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is a mouse droid. Fucking love seeing those guys. One of my favorite parts of any Star Wars movie is when a mouse droid is going down a hall going "Burr, burr, 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 burr." And then BB-8 starts making that noise when he's got the trash can on because he's like trying to blend in. That's very funny to me.
Yeah. And then there's the fight that they have with Phasma after DJ sells them out.
Yeah.
Which is a little. There's a lot of stuff happening all at once. But
right.
In terms of this is after the ship has been hit by Holdo's ship and it's like starting to explode. There's a lot of CGI for this hangar stuff. This fight in the hangar. It's a little excessive to me in a movie that otherwise I think looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think all the space battle stuff in this movie looks amazing. I think this hangar stuff is a little weaker. I do agree with that. It never looks terrible. It's just, to your point, like a little much, right?
Yeah.
But the Holdo maneuver itself is cool and great too. I love the moment where she it's intercut with all the throne room stuff too, which we haven't talked about yet, but
but the Holdo stuff, we can just say it, like it's visually some of the best stuff in this movie. The way the sound cuts out.
I think the image of the ship with the line cut through it, and then the shrapnel that has been like shot out at light speed cutting through the other Star Destroyers is maybe one of the most beautiful visuals in any Star Wars movie. It just, as an image, it rules so much.
Yeah. We should talk about the throne room scene.
Yes.
First of all, Snoke is so cunty.
Yes.
What
this gold fucking robe he's got on.
We haven't talked about it all yet, but like, what a prissy little queen this guy is.
Yeah. Also, Andy Serkis is gobbling up scenery, both in his mocap performance and his vocal performance.
Oh, he's having so much fun.
I love him in this movie. The only reason that I was sad to see Snoke go is because I was like, man, I'm not going to see any more of this Andy Serkis performance. Otherwise, I think the decision to kill him is really good, actually. Like, I think it's really smart and good, and I love it.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for Kylo Ren's arc.
Right. It's like he should be the main villain of the third movie, which, they fucked up. But,
yeah.
I love his design. I love the performance. I love that his head's all weird and gross. And like you can kind of see through his cheek in one spot. It's so gnarly. This fucking malformed goblin. I also like that he is big and tall, but he's not as big as you are led to believe when he's just a hologram, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I really would have liked it if he was like 50 feet tall.
That would be cool.
It would have been fun. But he's still quite tall. He's probably 10 or 11.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
He's about, a Navi sized, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, he is serving cunt in his gold robe. And doing all the classic, he's doing the classic.
Is he naked under that robe?
Oh, definitely. This guy has sex pervert energy.
What's the dick situation?
I think it's fucked up and horrible, and I also don't think it can get hard, which is one of the reasons that he has to be such a fucking weird sadist with Rey, right? Because he's touching her face with his claw hand. He's got these long sharp fingernails, and he's caressing the side of her face.
And he's doing the force torture thing.
Yeah, and he's like, "Give me everything." It's really kind of fucking sexually weird shit from him, and that just to me gives me vibes of a guy who is definitely naked under that robe, has a weird fucked up burnt dick, and it doesn't get hard and he can't use it, so he's just acting out.
I think it is. I think it's huge though.
Yeah, he probably has a big dick that doesn't work. It's a big flaccid dick that can't get hard.
Yeah. Yeah. The head's a little bit burned or something.
It's got a scar down it, like his head.
Yeah.
He's got a scar on both heads.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, right on the dick hole. Definitely weird ball situation with this guy. Probably mismatched. I assume one ball is much larger than the other.
I think
ball.
one's hanging much lower than the other one.
Yeah, I also like that his face.
If not, he might be missing a ball altogether.
Yeah, he might only have one ball, like Hitler.
Oh, that's right. Or like the woodshop teacher at my high school, allegedly.
Oh.
Everyone was like, yeah, he was in a woodshop accident and lost one of his nuts, but I don't know whether that was true or not.
I don't know. And if it was true, how the fuck did the students learn that?
I wouldn't be surprised, if it wasn't, and high school kids are just cruel, that cruel.
Yeah. Probably. Kids are horrible. Yeah, I mean, the throne room stuff is, it starts off as very, Darth Sidious coded, right? Where he's like, oh, yes, you will bend to my will because I'm so powerful and da-da-da, right? And then, so I like that we go in recognizing a Sith Lord throne room scene, and then it, swerves on you, which is what Rian Johnson's been doing the whole movie. He's like, hey, here's a recognizable Star Wars thing. Now we're going to do it a little different, And by this point in the movie, the first time I saw it in the theater, I should have realized that we were going to swerve here. And I kind of didn't. I was sort of like, oh, this is going to be like the Empire thing, where Rey has to fight Kylo here. And, Snoke is going to be there, but really it's going to be a fight between the two of them. And then she's going to escape and he's still going to be alive. And that's where we're going to leave it. And it's the way that it goes is so much more fun, right? Because Snoke is doing all his villain monologuing. And he's like, I have no, doubt that Kylo Ren is fully, dedicated to the dark side. I can see his every thought. I know him so well, and I can see that what he's about to do.
It contrasts so heavily with how he was dressing him down in the first scene.
Yes, yeah.
And it's now where I saw doubt, now I see resolve.
Yes.
And we see that Kylo's character arc has grown, just not in the way that Snoke necessarily anticipated.
Yeah. And there's also the reveal that Snoke is the one who is setting up the Force Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Right? Where he's like, yeah, I put you two together. I'm the reason you were talking, which big mistake, it turns out.
I was a bit of a matchmaker back in my day.
What can I say? I can't get hard, but I still loving hot young people having sexual tension.
Go ahead and fuck. I'll just sit here in my cunt throne.
No. Yeah, touch hands. I just like to watch. Yeah. Yeah, touch her hand. Yeah, that's right.
Just vigorously rubbing himself through his golden robe.
God damn it.
Come on it.
There's nothing here. Damn it. I have to take a space Viagra. Red Guard, get me a space Viagra. And then stick this butt plug in my ass. It's the only way I can finish.
My balls might not be working, but thank God my prostate is.
Yeah, those Red Guards have seen some shit. When he doesn't have guests, he doesn't even put the robe on. He's just walking around nude. Hey, what's up, Jerry? How's it going? Hey, how about sticking that laser sword up my ass for a second? Yeah.
Well, he does get fucked by a laser sword here in a minute.
He does,
yeah.
His face also has weird little hairs on it.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love that he has like gross little hairs on his face. Yeah. But yeah, so like he's like, oh, I have full confidence in how this is gonna go. You're gonna like turn the lightsaber and ignite it and strike down your true foe, and the lightsaber ignites and it just cuts this dude in half and it rules. I love it. I love his top half falling off of his bottom half out of focus in the background of the shot of Rey. It's so good.
And then later the bottom half falls off the throne when Donald Gleason shows up.
And his one hand is still on the armrest of the throne because the beam cut his hand off at the wrist.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's so good. And then
this really rad, awesome fight happens. The roar that erupted in the theater both times I saw this.
Yeah.
Was one of the most memorable movie-going experiences I ever have. Because what happens is Rey grabs the lightsaber with the Force, stands up, turns to look at Kylo Ren as the Red Guards are advancing. They go back to back.
Yes, he ignites his awesome lightsaber, which, like, I know that there was some controversy about Kylo Ren's lightsaber among nerds when Force Awakens came out, because it, like, looks all janky and weird and it has a crossbar and shit. The
lightsaber is him. The lightsaber is literally him.
That's right.
The lightsaber is literally his central character arc.
That's correct.
Yes.
I agree. Also, I just like the design.
It looks cool.
I love his lightsaber.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they go back to back and it becomes clear that like they're not going to fight, they're going to fight all of these Red Guard dudes. Hell yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah.
I have a hot take about this fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the best lightsaber fight in Star Wars. That is my hot take about the throne room fight in Last Jedi.
I disagree.
Okay. What do you think tops it?
Anything in the original trilogy.
Okay. All right.
I would say this is one of my favorite lightsaber fights.
Yeah. I do think
it does I prefer my lightsaber fights in Star Wars to be motivated by characters and conflict.
Yeah.
And that's why I like Obi-Wan fighting Vader.
Yeah.
And Vader and Luke in Empire.
Vader and Luke in Empire is, for me, it was hard to come to the conclusion that I did because that was the one that was sticking in my head.
Yeah. Vader and Luke in Jedi.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi is I go back and forth between Empire and Jedi on that one. And then the prequels have some of that emotion and character driving the fights, but mostly it's cool shit.
Yes.
Which is fine. I like cool shit.
Yes, and I am not immune to the Duel of the Fates, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul fight, because that fight has some cool choreo. It looks really rad. But to your point, yeah, the emotional stakes aren't there really for me in that fight.
And I'm not immune to the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight in Revenge of the Sith because the emotional stakes are there.
There's just so much fucking CGI jumping around.
And then it's 20 minutes later and we're still doing the fight.
I just
and
can't.
We've moved to a different part of the video game level. And I'm like, just wrap this shit up.
As soon as those guys start hopping onto that lava river and they just become digital body doubles.
Yeah.
Being puppeteered by a computer, I just stop giving a shit.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen in this fight. The reason that I think this fight is the best lightsaber fight in Star Wars is like, one, I think it is sort of a character payoff for Rey and Kylo Ren, right? Because this whole movie we have spent building their relationship to each other and building sort of the push-pull of the emotional stakes between the two of them, right? Where like she really believes that there's good in him. He really clearly feels drawn to her, but like they're still fundamentally at odds, right? And this is like a moment where they can like put aside their differences and work together, and like it's them fighting alongside each other is such a beautiful character moment for the two of them. And also fight choreography is an art in its own right. And I think this is one of the best choreographed fights in any Star Wars movie. Like, I think it's maybe the best. Not just lightsaber fight, any fight choreo.
Yeah, I think what makes this fight work is it is a perfect marriage of the cool shit you want in a lightsaber fight that's gonna, excite the 12-year-old kid in you, but also it has the character stuff to back it up.
And all of the moves that are happening feel like they have weight and impact and momentum. The sense of inertia in this fight is so good. Like each move flows into the next in a way that feels really naturalistic and propulsive. I love good fight choreo, and this is fucking great fight choreo.
And the different weapons that the Red Guards have are all cool and
those
interesting.
Like chain sword things.
Yeah, it's really excellent stuff. And I know someone's gonna hear you say that it's a really good choreo, and they're gonna be like, "Well, there's the YouTube video where it's like, I don't care.
I don't care.
There's a point where you have to just like do cool shit for the sake of doing cool shit in a movie.
Yes.
And not worry about what some fucking sword master is going to be like, oh, yeah, that was a bad move.
Yeah.
On a fucking GQ, I don't know, like sword master reviews sword fight scenes video on YouTube.
Also, I'm sorry,
which I
motherfucker.
love.
Have you ever fought with a laser chainsword? I didn't think so. So maybe shut your mouth because you're not a fucking expert on space sword fighting.
God, that first shot, I wish that first shot went on forever when they go back to back.
It's so
cool. And he bends forward and she braces against him to do the kick. I'm actually doing it, so I'm moving away from the microphone.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. I love this fight scene. I just think, man, the stuff in the original trilogy just gets to me.
That's fair.
Like all the character. It might be the Return of the Jedi fight because I think about. If you cannot be turned, then perhaps she will. Yeah. And then Luke yelling no and wailing on Vader as the music's going.
It's a great moment. But also, this fight has the moment where Kylo is being strangled by one of these Red Guard guys, and Rey tosses the lightsaber and he grabs it with the Force and ignites it and fucking lasers a hole through this dude's fucking head.
Yeah, it's good. It's good shit, man. It's good goddamn movies right there.
It's so awesome. And so as this is happening, the Holdo maneuver is happening. It's or actually I think the Holdo maneuver happens maybe right after when they're fighting over the lightsaber. Cuz they kill all these Red Guard guys.
Yeah, cuz he's like, "Okay, so
right.
Join me. Like, we're friends now.
We're gonna date now, right?
We're gonna be like dark side boyfriend and girlfriend,
right? Yeah, we had a bunch of sexy Zoom calls, and
like,
then I killed
this
my
is not
shitty
what I
boss for
expected.
you, and now you're gonna marry me and be my hot dark side wife.
And he reveals that her parents were, just like nobodies. Like he says, filthy junk traders who sold you off for drinking money.
And that's great for all of the reasons that I said before.
It's great for Rey's character arc of self-discovery.
Yeah, and it's a really good thing that this movie never had a sequel that totally undoes the best decision that this franchise came up with since the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I really like the Star Wars sequel duology.
Yes. Yeah, it's weird that they never made a third one of these. I love that moment. I love it. I love it.
We should probably talk about Crate.
Yes, right. So Rey escapes. She gets away on the Falcon with Chewie. BB-8 briefly pilots an AT-ST to save Rose and Finn. Finn also has his fight with Phasma, which is pretty cool. I do like the moment where he breaks her helmet open and you can see her eye and they see eye to eye for the first time. And then she says, I always knew you were scum, and he says rebel scum. Good moment.
I like that rebel scum is like a slur in these movies.
Yeah.
Especially in this trilogy. I feel like it's used like a slur by the Empire a lot more. First Order.
Yeah. And that's Finn reclaiming the slur. But yeah, so they escape too. And everybody goes to Crate, which is Hoth but salt.
It's salt.
Salt. And they go into the cave base. There's the Crystal Foxes. I like those guys.
I like the Crystal Foxes more than the Porgs, I think.
Really? Porgs are number one for me out of critters in this movie.
I think the Crystal Foxes are rad.
I would probably say Porgs number one, then the creature that Luke milks, then the crystal foxes, and then the horse things on Canto Bight. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So,
I forgot the mysterious sea creature that's just in the background of one of the establishing shots of the island. That just like goes underwater. We don't even see it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that guy's deal is.
Yeah, but
I don't know what he's up to.
I also like that we don't know. I love a Star Wars critter where it's like, yeah, you kind of see it for a second and you never get any context.
Yeah.
They go into the cave base, and so initially their plan was to wait out the First Order here, but then because Rose and Finn brought along Benicio del Toro, and he like betrays them, he just tells the First Order like, hey, they're all getting away on escape pods, by the way. So like the First Order follows them there. When they're blowing up a bunch of the escape pods, like while they're trying to get to Crate, I also think that moment's really cool because it's like a moment where this movie sort of goes out of its way to show you the collateral damage, like the human cost of conflict, which is a thing that like Star Wars doesn't do that much. So I love that, like, them watching in horror out the windows as like the other transports are being destroyed.
I think this movie does a really good job of raising the stakes to such a high degree at the end. That this feels like the fourth act almost because of the throne room fight, but it's really just a really long third act that is packed full of so many memorable and intense moments.
Yeah. And like we end with our characters like truly trapped, right? Because it's basically like they get in this cave base, they were planning on waiting it out here, but like the First Order now knows they're there, and they're coming with Space Grand.
They have an old Death Star laser or some shit that's like a battering ram.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a battering ram cannon or whatever.
It's not as cool as Grand.
I really wanted all these First
It's not
Order
my favorite movie siege weapon.
I wanted these First Order guys to just be chanting Grand.
Grand. What I really like is the like the gorilla AT-ATs that have the thick legs because they realized that they learned from the Battle of Hoth, and it was like, no one's tipping these motherfuckers over.
I think they maybe have more joints too, so that like instead of it falling over, it can just sort of adjust. Yeah, they were like, no tow cables, no harpoons and tow cables. That ain't gonna do shit. Yeah, I like sort of the sense of hopelessness here. I think it's very it's very effective at like maintaining the tension throughout this finale. That is basically like, okay, we got to figure something out. They go out on the little speeder things to try and destroy the siege cannon. I love the moment with Finn trying to like sacrifice himself, right? Trying to destroy the cannon, and then Rose hitting his speeder with hers and not letting him do it. And her line, how we win isn't by destroying what we hate, it's by saving what we love. And giving him a little kiss made me cry for the second time in this movie.
Okay,
I thought it was a beautiful little moment.
Okay, that's one of the cries that I maybe anticipated.
Yeah. That one really got me. Yeah.
It's good, and it's such a great aspect of Finn's arc, and unfortunately, they did make another Star Wars movie after this. But considering he has nothing to do in Rise of Skywalker, I think this is a nice conclusion.
Right, it's basically the conclusion of his character. Because Rise of Skywalker is sort of like, hey, all those characters of color that you liked so much from Last Jedi, turns out, fuck them. And this is a movie about white people.
And this team of characters that we wanted you to grow and love the same way that you love the original characters. Yeah, they're just kind of along for the ride in this one. Like, they don't really matter.
Shit blows so bad. Yeah, I don't know. I like her saving him.
I like the junky crappy speeders. I like that they have this leg that
cuts into the salt, just so that we get the visual of the red dust trail.
It looks rad as fuck.
It looks incredible. All of the crate design stuff, like the visual design stuff, it's like, did they just choose to make this a planet covered in salt, a layer of salt over red dust, so that they could do cool things with the contrast of white and red? Yes, absolutely. Does it work every single fucking time? Absolutely.
It also works really well with the marketing. That
Yeah.
poster looks really good, and all the character posters they did are awesome as fuck.
Yep. Yeah.
And even when we're doing mostly CGI stuff with on Crate, like the Falcon going through the cave and there's crystals everywhere, it's really, really good CGI stuff compared to some of the weaker stuff in this movie, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
So the cannon doesn't get destroyed. The cannon starts hammering away at the door, and then Luke shows up and has a goodbye with Leia and hands her the dice, and then walks out into the middle of the battlefield.
Yeah.
And Kylo is like, fire every gun on Mark Hamill. We have to kill him.
More! I love it. That moment was gift for a reason.
Yeah,
It's great.
We've missed some Hux stuff. We've lost Hux a little bit.
Oh yeah.
There's
a lot of shit in this movie.
I like Hux going to draw his blaster on Kylo Ren when he thinks Kylo Ren's been knocked out, and then Kylo Ren gets up and he's like, "No, not today. Not staging a coup today."
Yes.
And then here when they fire on Luke and he's still alive, I think he chucks Hux into like a control panel.
Yeah, because Hux starts razzing him. He's like, "Did you think you got him?" or whatever.
He just throws him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also I like the moment where like when he finds him unconscious and after he puts the blaster away, like Kylo Ren gets back up and like Kylo Ren starts giving Hux orders, and he's like, "What? You think you're my fucking boss?" And he like force chokes him, and he's like, "The Supreme Leader is dead," and he's like, "Long live the Supreme Leader." It's so good.
Yeah.
I love their dynamic. I love that like Kylo Ren kind of daddy doms Hux. Yeah, just man, that guy Hux can't catch a break.
No.
I have no sympathy for him because he's a Nazi, but like just really bad luck when your boss gets replaced by an even shittier guy. So then Kylo Ren, like none of the lasers work on Luke. Kylo Ren gets out of the AT-AT to go down and meet him, and I really like their confrontation. I think it's great. Like their whole fight thing, as much as it exists, where Luke is just dodging him, like not even letting him touch him, is all really nice. And Kylo Ren kind of spouting the same sort of vitriol that he's had for Luke the whole time. And Luke sort of not responding in the way that he's expecting him to, because he sort of expects Luke to like still be holding some animosity for him. And Luke's basically just like, yeah, like you made your choice, man. Like I don't have to try and convince you to change, you know? Like I no longer feel responsible for the choices you made.
Luke has come to live with his choices, is what we've learned.
Mm-hmm.
We learned basically at this point in the movie. Luke has learned to accept his failures and try to grow beyond them. And now he is trying to teach Kylo Ren the same lesson.
Yeah.
In a way that Kylo Ren doesn't necessarily expect, and maybe that we don't expect as an audience member. And we get the title drop in this movie twice.
Yeah.
And I was talking with my brother, and I think this is the only title drop we get in any mainline Star Wars movie, other than like, of course they say Han Solo's name in Solo, they say Rogue One in Rogue One.
Yeah.
But it's not like Yoda comes on and was like, "Hey man, that was the Attack of the Clones right there."
Right. Yeah, the only one that I think they might say is Phantom. Does someone say Phantom Menace and Phantom Menace?
They don't say Phantom Menace, which makes that title even more awkward and clunky than it is.
Yeah.
And you know, Kylo Ren's like, "When I kill you, I will have killed the last Jedi."
Yep.
And Luke gives him the same, like, you know, like, if
amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
Yeah. If you strike me down, you'll never be able to live with yourself, and I will not be the last Jedi.
Yeah.
And Kylo Ren takes a running dive at him and thinks he's killed him, and turns around, he's still there, and sticks his lightsaber through him to check, and Luke's a hologram, and he's astral projecting with the Force.
Yes,
floating
And I love that it's like not even that much of a reveal, because when you see Luke show up on Crate, he's the Luke from the flashbacks. He doesn't look the same.
Yeah.
You know, he looks the way he looked the last time Kylo Ren saw him, right? Which is very clearly intentional on Luke's part. He's like intentionally manifesting the version of himself that last interacted with Kylo Ren, right? And it's like, so it's not even that big of a reveal, but it still is like, it still works so well. Also, like, I don't know, the editing in this movie is great, because like the moment where he takes the running slice at him, it's just like all these like quick cuts to like his feet sliding in the salt and exposing the red dirt and shit. It's anyway.
Yeah. Luke using non-violence to buy time for the Resistance, to save people, to give them the legend and the hopeful inspiration that comes with that, and also try to teach a lesson to his former student who has turned to the dark side, is the coolest thing that Luke does in any Star Wars movie.
I completely agree.
It's the most Jedi shit that a Jedi can do. It's so good. It's so much of the core of what I think George Lucas was going for when he was creating Star Wars, and what Star Wars means to me as someone who is a fan. Because
the Jedi have always been like sort of Buddhist, right? That's always sort of been an influence, and like the non-violence and the the closing yourself off from emotions and stuff has always felt very they're like monks, right? And it feels very true to the spirit of the thing, that like his last heroic act is like not the act of a warrior, it's the act of like a monk, and
it ties to the philosophical aspect of the Jedi more so than anything religious or organized in the way that it was in the prequels, or even some of the stuff in the original trilogy. I think I don't know. I think it's so good. I don't know what else to say.
It is so good.
It's a great conclusion to this character's arc.
I agree. I think if you watched this movie and thought this movie didn't do right by Luke Skywalker, I'm sort of confused about what movie you watched. Because I kind of can't imagine a better send-off for this character than what this movie does.
Yeah. And Mark Hamill has been very public about how much he disagreed with Rian Johnson's take on the character.
Yeah. Some of that's been blown out of proportion by detractors of
this movie. It definitely has been.
But yeah, he didn't really get it.
Yeah. And I think it took him a while to reflect on it and get it. What he also said is like when he disagreed with it, he also agreed to play the role as written to the best of his ability. Mm-hmm. And I think this is an incredible performance from Mark Hamill.
This is the best
film
Mark Hamill is in any Star Wars movie. Like, he is much older than he was in the original trilogy, and he has grown as an actor, and he's better here than he is in any of the original trilogy, in my opinion. I think his performance in this movie is incredible.
He's definitely better than the first one.
Yeah. He's a little rough in that one.
But
he was brand new.
That's part of the character, too.
Right. Who's going to go to Tashi Station and pick up some power converters?
But the one that always gets me is, oh man, I'm trying to remember. They're in the Falcon, and I think they're being pulled into the Death Star.
Oh yeah.
And so the set is shaking and there's noise and stuff, and then something starts flashing on the Falcon, the Falcon's dashboard, and he goes, "What's that flashing?" And I'm like, Han, just fucking slap the shit out of this kid and get him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Speaking of characters needing to shut the fuck up, I like that that's everyone's reaction to C-3PO in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. We're right about to where, because like Luke causes the diversion and they realize that all the crystal foxes are like finding another way out of the cave. So they're like, we got to follow them so that we can figure out how to escape this cave while Luke is distracting the First Order. And one of my favorite things about that scene is like Poe is figuring it out, and then C-3PO is figuring it out right after Poe. So like Poe is coming to a conclusion, and then C-3PO has to be like, oh, I don't hear the foxes anymore. And like it gets to a point with 3PO in the caves where like every character, anytime he talks, is just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he starts telling Poe the odds as Poe is like already moved on to the next thing.
He's like, fuck off, you annoying tin can. I also like the moment in this movie where Leia tells him to like wipe that smug expression off his face or whatever. He's like, I'll try.
It's funny because that's the only expression that he has. He just has the one.
He's a robot.
He's a robot.
So they get to the opening where the all the foxes are escaping, and it's like this tiny little hole. I know we've been talking about this movie for a very long time. We're 3 hours into this episode, but I do need to call this out because like Rey and Chewie see the foxes escaping. They like go down to like help, and earlier in the movie, like Luke in the first lesson, he's like, the Force isn't something you use. It's not just about lifting rocks. And there's the great moment where like Rey is looking at all of these rocks that are like blocking the way for all of her friends to get out to safety. And she just goes like, lifting rocks. Like, of course it had to fucking just be this shit, you know? Because at the end of the day, you can like, you can intellectualize and like spiritualize the Force as much as you want, but if you need a fucking rock moved, you need to know how to use it to do that, right? And so she taps into what she's learned and she moves all the rocks, and the shot where they come out of the caves and she is standing with like the light from the sky like pouring in around her and all the rocks are levitating in the air, I think is a beautiful visual, and it also made me cry.
Is that your third cry?
That's my third cry.
Okay, I thought your third cry was a thing that we moved on from because we've been talking for 3 hours and we're losing our minds. Is the physical, the strain of doing the astral projection causes Luke to fall over and die, and as he dies, he sees the twin sons of Tatooine
That was my
rise.
fourth cry because that happens after the rock thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so Luke dying on the island and becoming one with the
you're
Force.
up to 4?
4. That was the fourth time I cried in this movie, and it was the last one. So the
okay,
cry
I thought you might have one at the very end.
No, the cry counts 4. So
is that the most you've had?
it might be.
Yeah,
it might be
because Titanic was 3, right?
Which is crazy that like The Last Jedi is the thing that's like getting so many tears out of me. Also, like when the movie ended, I went to write my Letterboxd review, and I included part of Yoda's quote in my Letterboxd review, and reading the quote again, I started crying again, and then I was just sobbing posting to Letterboxd. So I don't know, maybe something's just up with me today.
Maybe.
But yeah, I cried when she moved the rocks. I cried when Luke becomes one with the Force and sees the twin sunset. It was really the moment where, because he's looking at the sunset, and then there's a reveal that like the second sun is that just really, and the Jedi the Luke's theme kicks in, and man, I was raised on this shit. Of course, I'm fucking feeling something when I see Luke Skywalker looking at a twin sunset.
Yeah,
you kidding me?
Yeah.
And it's the perfect send off for the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kylo Ren walks into the base. I love the overhead shot of him and the stormtroopers walking over the burn marks from the laser on the ground.
Yeah. I like that they're the snowtroopers too. Just like in Hoth, like they're wearing kind of like the First Order equivalent of the snowtrooper thing, which just leads me to believe that like the First Order
they didn't know
it was salt,
yeah.
Right? And so those guys get out of the ships and they're like, man, it is so hot in my fucking snowsuit. Like, why is it's not fucking okay, great. I got fucking suited up in the snow gear for nothing.
And he finds the dice and they disappear, and I think that's the end of Kylo for this movie.
Yeah. And then, so then the only thing that really happens after this is everybody gets on the Millennium Falcon, everybody who's left, right? And they're basically all like, well, barely any of us made it. And Rey's sort of like, she's happy that her friends made it, but she's also kind of like, well, what do we do now? There's so few of us. Like, what can we even do? And Leia has like this great response to that where she's basically like, we have everything we need, right? Like all we need is to like stick together and to like help each other out, and this thing will grow, right? And I like that. And you also see that she has some of the Jedi books, right?
Yes, they save some. She saved the Jedi books in the Falcon. That's like a little throwaway shot that they have in there.
Yeah, and then the last scene of the movie is like we go back to Canto Bight, and there's a kid speaking like a fake Star Wars language, telling the story of the legend of Luke Skywalker to the like other kids who work in the stables on Canto Bight, the like slave children basically. And like the guy who owns the stable like comes in and yells at them or whatever. And one of the kids goes out to like sweep the stables, and he uses the Force to pick up the broom, and as he's sweeping, and we see it's the kid from before who was like enamored with Rose when she said that she was part of the Resistance.
He has the Resistance ring on.
Yeah. And then he looks up at the sky as like a ship jumps to light speed, is streaking across the sky, and he looks up at the sky and he's holding the broom in his hand like a lightsaber. And that didn't make me cry, but I'll be damned if it didn't make me feel something.
Yeah.
I think the end of this movie is it's one of the most positive, powerful messages that Star Wars has ever sent, which is like, yeah, it's like telling every kid in the audience, like, it doesn't matter where you came from, your circumstances, like, you have it in you to be a hero, you know? Like, it's like it's that is very clearly this movie saying to every like kid in the audience, like, you don't have to be a Skywalker, like, you can just be you, and that can be.
But who's Broom Kid?
I don't.
Who's he related to? Why didn't Broom Kid ever come back, Justus?
That's the opposite of the point of the scene. Yeah.
I have some theories about Broom Kid that I would like to share with you in a 30-minute YouTube video.
Broom Kid explained. Fucking end me.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
Everything you said is correct.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
It's a great, it's lovely, wonderful ending.
It's why we love Star Wars. And it's like it's this movie in the middle of this messy trilogy of Disney sequel films, really, really hitting a moment where it reminds you of why we gave a shit about this franchise in the first place.
It's more than why we love Star Wars. It's why we love storytelling, why we love mythology, how those those inform us, and they function both as escapism and life lessons for us to learn.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful ending.
Yeah, it's a great little moment. We didn't
talk about John Williams.
No, I mean, he's firing on all cylinders.
Great as usual.
Yeah. The one thing that I'll specifically call out in terms of Williams' contribution to this movie is I love the Kylo Ren theme. I think the Kylo Ren theme, and he it's not unique to this movie. It's used in The Force Awakens as well. But like, I don't think the Kylo Ren theme gets hyped up enough for how for being such an iconic piece of Star Wars score that is so intrinsically tied to a character, you know? To me, like, the Kylo Ren theme is like almost on the same level as like Leia's theme from the original trilogy. Like, anytime I hear that dun 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 dun, you know, I'm just like, man, that's the guy. You nailed it.
I remember some of the themes that he wrote for Force Awakens pretty well, and those are really good musical pieces. I don't remember as much from this. And I remember being really impressed with Rise of Skywalker, but reflecting on it and being like, yeah, he's just kind of playing the hits on that one.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, we're going to hit this theme at this moment, this theme at this moment, to remind you of those moments in the previous movies, which is like, that's what's asked of him, and I get that.
Right.
But it's maybe less of an interesting contribution than some of the new stuff that he wrote that I really should sit down with those, with the scores for these and listen to them more, because I don't remember the Kylo Ren theme, but...
Yeah.
Good as usual.
That's The Last Jedi. David is...
And there was never another Star Wars movie.
There was never another... This was the last one. Thankfully, Rey, being just a nobody whose parents don't matter, which kind of is the central thematic conceit of this entire journey that we've just taken, is never undone. David is Star Wars, The Last Jedi. the greatest movie ever made.
I think we should also do rankings here.
I agree. I don't think this episode's long enough. I think we also should do our Star Wars rankings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, it's TGME anniversary. If we give you a 4-hour episode, that's just because we're happy that we've done this for 2 years.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You get to spend some extra time with us. Yes, The Last Jedi is the greatest movie ever made.
Oh, wow. I actually was not sure you were going to say yes.
It was tough.
I know you like this movie. I didn't know if it was going to be a yes.
This is a great movie.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's perfect. I think there are some flaws here and there, some nitpicks that I have with it. The difference between it and a movie that I like to a similar degree in the Star Wars series, Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi has vast chunks of it that I think can be excised. And vast chunks of it.
You better not be talking about my boy Wicket. You got to keep Wicket.
I like some Wicket, but I think we get a lot of farting around that forest.
Yeah, that's true.
There are parts of that movie that slow down for me. This movie does not have that problem. There are some individual moments here and there that don't quite work for me, like Leia flying through space.
Yeah,
like some of maybe Holdo's characterization. The stuff here and there that I could kind of take or leave. But I think the overall experience of this thing, the way it makes me feel, hits that greatest movie ever made definition that you and I have come up with. I think the bottom line with this thing is this movie understands Star Wars. It understands why we love Star Wars, rather than just giving us lightsabers and X-Wings and laser guns and saying, here, these are the things that you love about Star Wars. No, what I love about Star Wars is the mythology and the character development and the intrinsic things that make us human and the ways that we struggle with our place and purpose in the world. And this movie has all of that, and it's articulated beautifully by Rian Johnson's script and displayed beautifully through his direction. This movie is so special and unique and has such a bold take on Star Wars that also feels completely in keeping with what George Lucas set out to do with the original Star Wars films. Yeah, it's the greatest movie ever made. I think it's fucking rad as shit, dude.
What's your Star Wars ranking?
So I don't want to rank Rise of Skywalker and Force Awakens because I haven't seen them in a while.
Okay.
And I'm also not going to rank Solo and Rogue One. I will just give like my basic star ratings. Rise of Skywalker, I'm probably sitting like a 2.5.
Yeah.
Just because but I've only seen that one once. Solo's at like a 3 out of 5. I think that movie's fine and definitely like watchable, but it's not great. Rogue One, I have it a 4 out of 5, which might be a little bit high. And Force Awakens.
Not if you're asking me. I love Rogue One.
Force Awakens, I have it a 4 out of 5. But my ranking would be Phantom Menace at the bottom, Attack of the Clones at 5, not 5. Next would be Attack of the Clones.
Right.
And then Revenge of the Sith. I kind of think Revenge of the Sith is the best one by default because it has Anakin's fall to the dark side, and that is emotionally stirring, even if it is so rushed and unearned in that movie.
Sure, yeah.
Although I hear people say that they like Phantom Menace the best because it is self-contained and has more of a practical feel to it.
Maybe put a pin in that for my ranking. But
I also feel like you can just not watch the Phantom Menace. Like, you learn almost nothing in the Phantom Menace that isn't relevant, that is relevant later in those movies.
Yeah, that's kind of why I like it better than the other prequels. Is because it's like, it kind of just stands on its own, you know?
That's true.
Also, I don't know, there's a big goober fish and shit.
I also feel that way about
Darth Maul. He's kind of cool. He's got spikes on his head.
I also feel that way about the movies in general, is that like the Star Wars universe has never felt cohesive to me.
Right.
And kind of just treating its own movie, it's its own thing, is like more
That's
worthwhile.
That's kind of way to go, yeah.
Which is part of why I like this movie so much. Anyway, Then I have Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Then I would have The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
The only flaw, the biggest flaw of The Last Jedi is now that there are 2 Star Wars films with the word Jedi in them, I have to specify which one I'm talking about when I just shorten it to Jedi.
Right. You can't just call Return of the Jedi anymore.
Yeah. Then I have the original Star Wars, and then I have Empire Strikes Back at the tippy top.
Okay. Respectable.
Justus, is Last Jedi the greatest movie ever made?
David!
And what's your ranking?
I went into my viewing of this movie for the podcast today not really expecting to give this one a yes, because I was like, oh, I really like The Last Jedi. I don't know if I'm going to say it's the greatest movie ever made, but, I'll be positive on it. And then, watching it again, I was like, I think I maybe like this movie this time more than I ever have. It made me cry 4 times. I was so moved by all the thematic stuff about how your past and your legacy does the legacy of the people who led up to you doesn't define you, and how you can forge your own path while still learning lessons from those who came before you. That message really resonated really hard with me, and I thought it was communicated so poetically and beautifully, and a lot of the performances in this movie really stood out as franchise bests in a way that they never have for me before. I think Mark Hamill does his best in this movie, like I've said, but I also think Adam Driver rules in this movie.
Yeah, we didn't really
talk about the acting in this 3.5-hour podcast. But Daisy Ridley in this movie, floors me. She's so good in this movie.
Yeah.
And across the board, I think everybody is delivering great work here. John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran, I already called out earlier. I think they are highlights of this movie, and it is a damn shame that they are sidelined in the next entry in this franchise. But I was really vibing with it this time. The visuals are beautiful. I think it's very well edited. I think Rian Johnson is he's sort of flexing his auteur muscles, both in his work outside of Star Wars, right? He kind of flexes his auteur muscles in the Knives Out franchise as well. But it really feels like a guy with a specific vision, a specific worldview that informs his art, made this. And that is kind of a rarity for Star Wars. It's kind of one of the only Star Wars movies that feels like that to me. So I'm going to give it a yes. I'm going to say yes, Last Jedi is the greatest movie ever made, because it's I was moved to tears by this movie 4 times, and I walked away from it feeling stuff and thinking about stuff, and I'd sort of be a hypocrite if I gave this a no, considering that. My series ranking. I'm going to say Rise of Skywalker, for me, is dead last. It is the bottom of my list, and that is specifically because it undoes all of the best stuff from this movie.
Yeah.
Which I think is a sin beyond just the hubris of George Lucas.
I remember while I was watching it in the theater, and I was still sort of hyping it up while I was watching it, when Luke comes out and he's basically like, yeah, all the shit I said in the last movie, just fucking forget it, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, movie, fuck you.
Yeah, I really
I felt that.
I really hate that movie going out of its way to undo a movie that I loved. It feels ugly and reprehensible in a way that the prequels are kind of bad in a charming way, where it's George Lucas just got a little bit too big for his britches.
Yeah, they're failures born out of hubris.
Yes. Rise of Skywalker feels maliciously bad to me. So that's at the bottom. Then I would say Attack of the Clones, which sucks dick. Revenge of the Sith, which I also think is quite bad. Phantom Menace is the top of the prequels, just because there's some more interesting shit happening in that movie. I think stuff like the pod race is pretty inventive, even if that movie kind of doesn't work for me and hurt my eyeballs the last time I watched it. Next above that, I'm going to put Solo, but that's with an asterisk, just because I need to rewatch that movie before I solidify my feelings on it. I only saw it once in the theater. Then I would say Force Awakens, Return of the Jedi, Rogue One is that high on my list because I fucking love that movie, And then I'm going to say Last Jedi, Star Wars 77, Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is all a list.
Thanks.
Solo's okay. Solo's like a good lazy Sunday hangover watch.
It's sitting in the middle of my list right now just because I don't really remember that much about it.
Yeah.
I remember Chewbacca being in a slave pit or some shit.
Yeah.
Darth Maul's running a fucking criminal underworld or something.
It's a weird movie. And you kind of watch it and I'm like, yeah, they really did. I walked into that being like, they don't need to make a Han Solo movie. And I walk out of that going, yeah, they really didn't need to make that, but it was kind of fun.
It was all right. Yeah. I remember being surprised by how much I liked Alden Ehrenreich.
He's really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of sucks that he got shafted at the end, in the end, but
he's good in weapons.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we need to wrap this shit up.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
If
you're still here with us.
Yeah.
And you don't hate us.
Right.
Sorry that we like a movie. Actually, no, I'm not sorry.
I'm not sorry. I'm also not sorry we talked about it for 3.5 hours.
That's also the entire pretense of this podcast. Please give us kisses.
Give us engagement. He was going to say kisses. Don't kiss me.
Give us engagement, you fuckers. Go onto social media and like our shit.
Or don't.
And comment
just keep
on
listening
it.
To the show. Who gives a shit?
Share it with your friends.
Nothing
and be like,
means
hey,
anything.
fucking listen to this or I'll come to your house and shoot you dead and kill your family.
Don't do that. Next week, we're talking about American Psycho 2. And hopefully...
Hey, did you know there was a sequel to American Psycho? That might clue you in as to its quality.
Hopefully... that episode is not 3.5 hours long, because if it is, something has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, we need to kick in the trend of the 4-hour YouTube video essays about American Psycho 2.
Yeah.
And what happened with that fucking thing.
I think we need to hire someone to just slap us in the face for every 5 minutes we go over 2 hours.
So join us next week for that. And again, spread the word about the show. Thank you guys for listening so much for over 100 episodes now. We really appreciate it. And as always, and by that I mean just on this one episode, may the force be with you, dipshits.